Oh my god. The birdies, they're so nice. Listen to them. Little squeaks and stuff. Like, yeah, birdies. Get it, birdies. And then you drop a beat. Okay. Alright, sorry. Just having a little fun, folks. How you doing? Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Today's a good day. You know why? I mean, if you saw the title or the thumbnail, then you know why. Oh, I'm excited for today, my friends. We are going over the Starmap. Well, okay, not just the Starmap. We're going over everything today. All the UI updates. Well, okay, again, not all the UI updates. We're going over the UI-based panel that took place at CitizenCon. Where is it? Here it is. Where we got to see the new Starmap. We got to see the new HUD. We saw local maps. We saw mini maps. We saw scanning features. A lot of UI updates, and we've been waiting a long time for this. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is seriously, I've got the proof too. I've literally got a reference right here from 2017 when they talked about this Starmap and how it was going to be a universal system that all worked together. So as we always do in these deep dives, we're going to jump back in time, look at how they have built up towards this UI, and the things they were saying, match that up with what we got and see if they were, you know, if they stayed consistent, if what they were saying is what they delivered, and if they've met the standards that they set. Thank you for coming today. Good to see you. Welcome in. Time for our hellos. Anybody who's watching this after the fact on stream, I'd jump like 10 minutes in. No, that's where we're starting the good stuff. Because we're actually going to do some history first, like I said. We're going through and around the verse about mapping. We're going over CitizenCon 2949, which gets referenced in this panel. So I think it's really key to go back to this one and kind of listen to what these... It's the same exact two guys on stage. So listen to what they're saying there. And then lastly but not least, that reference from 2017 I was talking about. Then we'll get into the panel. So if you don't want history, jump ahead in time. If you do, stick around. Matt Sully, good to see you. Echo Zeppelin, I see you with the milk. How you doing? Typical Light. Hey, Punji with the toes. Frisch, Lionstar, Mace, Simahone, Jet Skier, Fan, Page, Base Rop. Is that how you say that? You held the line. 07's bruh. We held the line. Papa Gamer, good to see you, Mace. Ken, Massasaries. I still have trouble with it. You've been here for such a long time, and I still have trouble with that one. This held the line is sticking, huh? Another unique name. 07's Vasten Mousy. Good to see you. Lord Skippy, how's the Idon? How did the Idon maker go? Wopsturk. Apero, Swimore. Eric. Jack. 07's everybody. Jeremy, Buster user, best user. War is heck. Just imagine an old war veteran just being like, war is just heck. Yo, why don't I get any of these sounds? Are you messing with me again, Stream Elements? Why are you not telling me when people do these things? Such a bully. Best feature they showed for real. Yeah, obviously server meshing is the best thing we got, but I think that stands outside of features. You know, server meshing is its own thing. But considering the whole CitizenCon, things that affect the most people, I gotta say the two of them, I don't know, I can't think of anything else that would be more apparent than the map. Maybe the interaction system. I think that's the one other thing that affects people more than a mapping system. But the map system has got to be one of the things that'll make the biggest difference to this game. So, excited to go over it. Think your favorite part was the discourse and talking about it with other fans? Yeah, being there, the best part was meeting people, for sure. Welcome to the live show, Alexander. Ethnification, good to see ya. Citizen Scott, yo sevens. We are live, Doug. Welcome. Server meshing best tech we got. Starmap, one of the best features we got. There it is. There it is. Did I enjoy the ADI booth? I did. Love ADI. Good folks. Yeah, I miss the boys back there. I still talk to Space Coder all the time. One thing you wanted out of CitizenCon was a new Starmap, so glad we got to see it. Yeah, you know what I realized? I have not been... we've been going over CitizenCon stuff, and I figured, why don't we make sure we pull up our list for those of you who were here before CitizenCon started, if you weren't, You are now. You can join in on our next list. But this is a list we made of features we expected at CitizenCon. So how about we start marking them off? I'm saying, what's the cross out? How do I cross text out? Alt-Shift-5. All right, so we cross out the things that weren't there and we bold the things that were, yeah? So we've got Mission Giver update. I feel like we'll go through the panels and make that decision. They talked a little bit about Mission Givers, but it wasn't really an update. So we won't get into that. Female character updates obviously was there, but that's on a newer panel. We'll mark these off as we touch on them with the panels bigger. Okay. We'll mark these off as we touch on them with each panel. So we've already gone through the engine one. So let's look for all the engine stuff. Let's see. We saw server meshing. Just bold that. We saw rendering advancements. It's like ray tracing and stuff. We saw Maelstrom. Nice. I'm glad we saw Maelstrom. Double check my YouTube title. Oh, it says the biggest feature. Thank you. I've got buttery fingers. Look at that. The biggest feature. You know what? Maybe it was supposed to say that. Maybe I'm speaking Van Duel. Maybe Vig means best in Van Duel. Best biggest feature. Star Citizen isn't particularly great as a space sim. It's more focused on combat. Yes, and you know what's crazy about that? How many people don't care about combat, even though combat has been really the only feature besides mining and cargo hauling for a long time. It's not supposed to be combat. That's just what they developed first, because Squadron 42 is combat focused. Now that Squadron 42 is done, we're going to start to see more work in mining, salvage, cargo, data running, exploration, stuff like that. So the game's going to start to change a lot more. I actually have a video out a couple months ago. It's literally titled, "We Aren't Playing Star Citizen." Go check it out if you're interested in learning more about how the game's going to change, because it's going to be pretty big. All right, what else did we see here? We got the Starmap, that's for sure. We're about to go over that. UI updates, new maps, Mobiglass, MFDs, that's what we're about to see as well. Saw a lot of this stuff, but we'll come back to that. Water simulation, yes. Probably not. Did we see any of this? Updated character creator. We did see that, but we'll get back to that. So, of all of our guesses, yeah, I think that's about all we have so far that we went over. So back to the actual topic at hand. Before we get started, we've got our... where's my Discord? There it is. Folks, we just had a giveaway, as you all know, as you've all entered. And we've had our winner. Y'all want to know who it is? Do you actually care? We could just not do it. Just, you know, just leave it. That's why you're hyped. They're doing the utility pouches for clothing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so our giveaway winner for the Avenger Titan is Key Modern Joyer. If you're in the chat, Key Modern Joyer, congratulations. Big ups. The Avenger Titan's like the best thing you can get that's smaller than a Nomad. Is it smaller than a Nomad? It's smaller than a Nomad. Great ship. It also comes with a copy of the game. So if you don't have the game, now you do. And it's good time too, because 3.22 is going to bring in a new... Actually, I don't think we're getting the character customizer. We're just getting new heads and hair. But either way, nice time to have an Avenger Titan. Congratulations, Key Mode Enjoyer. If you're not here, we'll get in touch with you. Don't worry. You don't have to be here to get your winnings, but make sure to reach back out or we'll have to do a reroll. With that, my friends, we got something big planned. We got another one. It's coming very soon. And that one will be running for another month, so you have plenty of time to get into it. It will have some secret codes and upcoming videos, so you'll be able to get some extra entries. And we'll be rebalancing our Twitch points thing a little bit, so people can't put in 1,000 entries. That's... Yeah. So, congratulations, Key Mode Enjoyer. Congratulations to all of you who... congratulated Key Mode Enjoyer, and thank you for getting involved. I do hope you guys have a get the chance next time to win. Winning is nice. Sorry, just getting ready for this. So let's jump into it. How do you enter the giveaways? There will be a link. It's always going through our website, spacetomato.gaming.com/giveaways. And generally, it's the same ways to enter. Yeah, we don't really switch it up too often. All right, folks. Let's do this. The best feature, in my opinion, shown at CitizenCon, because server meshing is tech, like was said in chat. The best feature, in my opinion, was the mapping stuff, because this affects everyone. Besides interaction system, I feel like the mapping system is the most popularly used thing amongst players. So a change like this is going to affect everyone, and I think what they've done with it is pretty good. And it's also introducing exploration. We've talked a lot about exploration in the past. We've debated it a lot, and we'll get back to that debate today. But I think they've given us some pretty clear, I wouldn't even call them hints, just messages about what exploration gameplay is going to be. So let's jump into that. And we're going to start with, obviously, history. What they used to say about where the map is going to come from, what it's supposed to act like, how it's supposed to work, and some early examples of what they were working on. And then we'll get to the actual presentation. Giveaway is open to non-subs. Tony Z does still work at CIG. Confirmed it at CitizenCon. So, well, okay, maybe I didn't confirm it, but he was. We talked about him. Anyways, shall we? That's not going in the YouTube video. Here's what Simon Bursey has to say back in, this was 2019, regarding interior maps. He was also the one who was presenting, but here he is back then.
So the area we're working on right now is called the local area map. So we have the Starmap in the game, so this is the equivalent for when you're walking around on foot. At the moment we're at the end of the pre-visualization phase. The first thing was, is it going to be 2D or 3D? Everybody wanted to do 3D. So we did a test out and it looks pretty good. There's also things like, do we want to be able to see the enemy characters on there? So we did a little test for that. Also, it was interesting how we work out how the player moves between floors looking at the map, so how they look at the next floor up, next floor down, that kind of thing. It's a case of working out how to make that in the game in a functional way. So UI team itself is fairly small, and there's all these big systems in the game that this links in with. So we have to deal with the other teams. For example, that we have to work out how we get the map information from the level, where do we store the locations of all the items, all that kind of thing. So there's lots of things to talk about with the rest of the studio to get this done. And also, it also needs a certain level of cool, so what about it looks good and makes it a bit different to other games. At the moment, it doesn't have quite that level of visual polish that we want, so we want it to be as good as what you'd see in a sci-fi movie, for example. So just now it's functional and it's fine, but we don't want fine, we want it to look really good. As the game's got bigger, obviously there's more places to get lost now, so that having a map has become more important.
With a feature like that, he says that it's, coming to the end.
I actually like that this looks so much worse than what we got. Their previs is actually worse than what they delivered. And this was a while ago, so, it makes sense. But this was the first time we saw their idea for a internal map. Honestly, I did not like, I didn't like this when we saw it. So that's that. But now we step a little bit further in time into 2019 CitizenCon, which he refers to back in 2023 CitizenCon as kind of being like when they first started to introduce the things that they're now fulfilling. This was kind of their big introduction to building blocks. It was like a system they were working on to build all the UI, and they'd sort of explain why it's so important here. Yeah, Big Black, it was good to meet you, man. I did not catch the reference to the Xi'an encounter. Unless you were talking about the conversation they were having. You have links about Quantum and the next patch. Oh, it'll be 3.22. So they're not doing 321.1? Gosh, they just keep on switching it up on us, huh? So are you saying that the replication... Throw that in a Discord at some point. I'll go check it out. Do you know what is the business of people offering referrals for $10 or $18? Jeez. We're offering referrals. Do not understand this, but some people I know bought the referral for 18. I mean, I guess if you need one more referral to get a ship that's more than $18, then that's basically a loophole. But I haven't heard of people paying for referrals. I mean, I know people pay for ads for referrals. That's interesting. All right. Hey, Tactical Mindset. Thank you for the sub, gifting it out. Over to Yo-Yo Meg. Sweet. Go check out Yo-Yo Meg's streams if you haven't. Can we get a shout out for her? Okay, let's dive into building blocks and look at what they were saying back in 2019.
We have this second system which is called building blocks, and this is the bit that you guys will see. This is the thing that defines the interface, and it's the things that you interact with. And it's a system which it uses a set of what we call widgets, and these widgets can be things like text, and it can be images, and it could be vector graphics, and then there can be things that are more interactive, so like a slider or a tick box or a drop-down menu and things like that. This is a very common way for UIs to be made. Many technologies would use this mechanism of using simple, reusable objects to make up the UI that you interact with. We don't have these big custom objects that just do one job, because you end up writing a custom object and then another custom object, another custom object. What we do is write a simple object that we can reuse in a flexible way. This really improves our development times, and long term, it improves the UI. The second part of building blocks is we have independent styling in a way that's not too dissimilar to how CSS is applied to HTML, where you would tag a part of the UI to say, let's say we're talking about text object. A text object might be described as title, right? So maybe the Anvil style would say it's going to use this particular font, and it's going to be left justified, and it's going to be bold or something like that. And then maybe an RSI would want it to be a bit more subtle, and it would not be bold, and maybe use a lighter font and maybe a different color and things like that. So it's independent of defining the interface, but and it can be applied per different manufacturer or whatever use case we have. And at the end, we have this.
So let's go to the actual setups. This is where we were. You guys remember this UI? We didn't even have screens to click on. It was literally a single button, and then it would be a little holographic thing that came out of it. And like at this time, we finally were just getting these sorts of things into the game. So like this was just showing off the very beginning of building blocks, but they weren't even talking about maps. They were just introducing kind of the UI system that would eventually build out maps. And it was so early that really they couldn't work on 3D stuff yet. They were still just doing 2D stuff. So it took a while. Now and that's to say, the whole reason they had to build building blocks as a UI thing is, for those who didn't know, all of the UI in this game was built on Flash. Flash, the defunct standard from Adobe, the one that got canceled. They had to basically build out building blocks to get away from Flash getting canceled. So it's all pretty new, and it took them a while to get all of it spread throughout the game to all the developers and comfortable to use, which is why we're just now starting to see actual UIs show up. So here's what they were saying in 2017 about wanting to do that, kind of showing their plan from the start, really.
And that's one of the reasons why we've always opted to have the arm visible on screen, is because that's the visual connection between the UI and the character. So the interesting thing about the star map and where we want to take it in the future is that the star map will actually be the same display tech being used for the radar. And you can sort of think the star map as sort of like a Google Maps of the Star Citizen universe. It's basically, we eventually want to make it whereby you can zoom in far enough and it basically turns into a radar in a ship, or your surroundings, like who's around me if I'm in first person. We've initially showed off the star map at Gamescom last year, which was basically to be able to quantum travel to a location. But since then, we've actually iterated on it heavily. We've done a sprint for the star map.
This is what we played with. For the people who kind of asked, why is the star map so bad? Because it was built for literally what we see on the screen right here. Crusader, the moons, and you couldn't even land on the moons at the time, so they weren't worried about, planetary surfaces. It was built for space travel between Crusader, its moons, and a couple of space stations, not even across the star system. So like, the map was just simply not good enough for the game that kind of outpaced it. They just never got around to updating it, though, because the building block system wasn't ready in 3D. So they were stuck. They were like, yeah, we have the idea for the map. We know what we want to do with the map. And we're building the tech for it, but the tech's not ready. Meanwhile, this map that we used for something that we thought was going to be more temporary is so bad that it's driving people away from the game. So it is nice that they have finally gotten around to building this concept, but it's kind of crazy to look back at this all the way back in 2017. You know, this is like, that's a span of time that's longer than some game's lifetime. And that's how long it took for this map to finally come to fruition. So now, let's take a look at how that went. What we got out of it. Bro looked jacked at CitizenCon. Bro always looks stacked. Like, every time I see him on camera, I'm like, this dude works out when he's not working on this map, huh? He's either working with maps or working with lats. Mrs. Tomato didn't look at me, so that wasn't a terrible joke. They really let this idea planned out. Yeah. Yeah, this is what I think was a good part of CitizenCon, that a lot of the things they talked about for a long time, they finally proved that they could actually do it. So let's get joke check. So let's get into it.
How are you doing, Los Angeles? Boys, a lot of you here.
What's up, Bone?
It's great to see you. Hi. My name's David, but everyone calls me Bone. Don't ask. Or maybe ask me later. So, my job is to oversee all the technical implementation
And press the button.
of the UI across the company. And if I'm lucky, I get to do some programming from time to time.
Press T-Bone.
At previous CitizenCon, one in the flesh, in Manchester, I talked about UI tech with my friend and colleague, Zain Bien. And we were making new tools and technology to help our developers with, to develop their UI. So that was a few years ago now, and now I'm really privileged to share with you how this technology is being utilized by our talented designers.
See, we got to look at that. I like it. I like that they can say that and it's true. Sticking to the word on this stuff. Appreciate it.
To help improve your experience in the verse. So, along with some of my UI friends that are hidden out the back there, we'd like to show you some of these improvements which are going to help you, the players, navigate the Star Citizen universe. So, why are we doing this? Well, Star Citizen is big, really big. There's so many unique places, massive planets, moons, space stations, rest stops, you know, there's just loads of places to explore. We have a huge range of spaceships of all shapes and sizes, and there's an enormous amount of things to do and see and people to meet, and all this can be shared with friends online. And as we've seen today, as our amazing online technology grows, it takes great leaps, and our online player count grows, the possibilities become almost endless. So how are we going to make sense of all this? Right. Well, one of the main ways we do this is with a user interface, or UI for short. Well, that's where we come in, fortunately, being the UI guys. And we do this in loads of ways that you see already, whether it's your vehicle MFDs, or the HUD, or the kiosks, where you get your spaceship, or you trade commodities, or buy weapons, and all manner of diegetic UIs that you see, diegetic meaning like things in the world that you can interact with. But our first real opportunity is through the helmet visor display. Now,
The visor display gives you vital information about your status and the environment around you. But this display has gone through many iterations over the years, and it's been built upon and adapted. And I don't know if who remembers Arena Commander 1.0. That came out about a year after I started, which was primarily space combat and racing, so the visor was geared towards that. And then it evolved with our first adventures into the online universe, and as all the features get added and all these new things, the visor grows and we put things on it to show you, different statuses and like tells you all about what's going on. But with all this evolution, we sometimes lose focus. There's so much we need to know, and when we need to know it is important. So how do we zero in on what's important and at what time? So leaning on this technology that Zane and I and the UI tech team wrote a few years ago, we're trying to take a smarter perspective and rework the visor for you. So I'm not going to tell you about that. I'm going to invite Simon Bursey onto the stage, and he can tell you more about it. Simon? You on this?
I'm seeing you having issues with the stream. Is anybody else? I'm not seeing anything on my side, but if there are problems, maybe give it a refresh. YouTube's telling me it's all excellent. What do you think of more enemy ships and bounties? That's great to me. So I was trying to find you guys actually an early example of this UI he was talking about, because funny thing, I'm not seeing any of the videos I'm looking for. Funny thing about the UI, actually the first time they started on UI in this game, they hired the guy who made the UI for Iron Man. The guy who made all the HUD elements for Iron Man that were flying around circles and stuff on Robert Downey Jr. And you guys probably remember even the UI that he was just showing here. This one, the 1.0 one, had that stuff. Like when you were targeting an enemy, you could see all of like the circles flying in and stuff, and it was super distracting. I think the one that we have now is so much cleaner, and even the ones we had in the later years were cleaner. It looks cool in the movie, but for the game, it was very distracting. But I can't seem to find that, so never mind.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so Star Citizen, as you know, is a big project which has evolved over its lifetime. Early on in the project, we added the visor, which is the display you see on your helmet when you're walking around the universe in first person. Because the game is always expanding, we often add new gameplay features, and with those come new UI. The various teams slotted pieces into whatever place made sense at the time, but this eventually meant the view became very complex. As you can see, the current live UI can get very cluttered. We have lots of information competing for your attention, so you don't always know where to look, and sometimes the overlaps can make things difficult to read. So, as you can probably tell, the UI team wanted to do a redesign. We wanted to improve the player's experience by presenting the important information in a clear way. We also needed to create a new framework that supports all the existing features and allows us to add more in future. And finally, we wanted to bring the visuals up to the high standard we're setting for Squadron 42 and soon the Star Citizen persistent universe. So how do we go about that? I believe user interface should always be a collaboration with the teams who build the underlying features. So we worked closely with them on a new layout, keeping some pieces, combining others, and maybe getting rid of a few. Once we'd figured out the design, we built a new framework using our 3D UI system, and then we worked closely with the various game teams to take all that complex data that existed before.
For all of you, why does this say A and B? I can't imagine that those aren't console controls. What am I missing here? Is it just like placeholder text or something? Or did we just happen to come across? It would be very funny if this was like a slip that there's a console. I guess it also could just be controllers for a computer. Either way, I was just wondering like what the A and B stood for, because every other shot they have actual things on here. This is the only place in the whole presentation where they have these placeholders for some reason.
Hook it up to the new user interface. When we design player-facing UI, we often try to start with the worst case first, so we can see everything we have to deal with. It was important for us to keep the central area as clear as possible to make it easier for you to see the underlying game. We designed a set of regions that attach to the different parts of the view, And with each of those, we have a set of widgets that can show, hide, and stack when you need them. So, I've told you about everything we wanted to achieve, but wouldn't it be great to see it in game? Does anybody here want to see a live demonstration?
And that is the winning strategy of the CitizenCon. Almost everything they showed got a live demonstration, and I think that's what really sets this event
I'll
apart.
show you some of our new UI running live in the game. Everything you see is in real time, but I have to tell you we've created a special mission just for the show, which is a little different to what you see in the live game. Okay, so as you can see, Bones driving.
Oh yeah, so this is kind of annoying. I'm just gonna skip a little forward here. There's like this black bar across the bottom of the screen on their recording, unfortunately, so we actually missed like the first few minutes of them showing this, because that's basically the whole new part of the HUD, you know? There's only stuff up top here, so.
Major overhaul of the augmented reality marker system, so we can follow the yellow on-screen marker to get to our objective. At the top of the screen, you'll also see the compass. Okay, Bone, let's head towards the objective. We were already happy with the way the player status widgets worked, showing you contextual information about your character and environment. So we've given them some visual polish and added a few new ones.
They hit it on purpose? Oh, wonder why. Okay, wait, can I toot my horn a little bit, guys? Just a little bit. This is a place that I've been waiting so long for gameplay to come to. Like whenever we talk about in videos like engineering gameplay being in cities and stuff, it's always this place that I think of as an example, because they have like the kiosks there, and I think at one point they mentioned that they wanted to have these things used for city-based objective missions, or mission objectives and engineering. So it's really cool to see this as their example. I can't wait for more stuff like this simple little mission to be in the game.
The environmental radiation here is quite high, and over time it will wear down our suit and damage the player. Looks like we can see the source of the radiation there. I think somebody's damaged a pipe, so how are we going to fix it? If we were in space, we could use a salvage and repair ship. Luckily, UEE have some advanced portable tech. Bone, please equip the military multi-tool.
Love this thing.
The military multi-tool from Squadron 42 has various modes, one of which gives us the ability to salvage and repair while on foot. Okay, Bone, let's use the multi-tool to repair that pipe. Okay. Right, we can see at the bottom left of the screen, the radiation levels are decreasing. So let's head into the scene.
Guessing the military multi-tool will be an unlockable.
Let's walk forwards a bit.
From reputation, maybe. Or if you kill someone who has one.
Okay. Now we fixed the damage, we need to find the enemies that caused it. While we're on the way, you'll notice that the on-foot emissions at the top of the screen. We're emitting infrared, electromagnetic radiation, and also sound. If any of these go higher than the background levels, it will be easier for the enemies to detect us.
Love that.
Let's take a look at the bad guys, Bone.
And they didn't even really mention
and radar
that one of the things, like armor is supposed to be like, if players, it's supposed to be like ships, so we're supposed to have powered armor. So they haven't even started talking about how we will have to worry about those other emissions besides just sound, because we're probably going to be wearing armor that does special things. Most of us, if you want to like live.
tech, we also have the ability to scan while we're on foot. If we tap the button, we can do a quick scan to reveal everything, to reveal info about anything that's in our view currently. Okay, Bone, let's do a quick scan. This highlights whatever's in our line of sight. There's also some risk and reward to the scanning system.
I'm also
By holding
thinking
the button, we can charge us.
There's some bounty hunter possibilities here. You get target information and stuff from scanning people. There's another like sci-fi fantasy that they've fit into here.
Reward to the scanning system. By holding the button, we can charge our scanner, and this reveals enemies through walls using a more powerful wave. but it does cause a spike in our emissions, which makes us easier to detect. Okay, let's do a charge scan, please, Bone. Okay. We can also see the augmented reality box outs, which give us a summary of what we've detected.
The enemy markers look much
have a look
better.
at our weapons.
Now, at least now our friends and enemies don't have the same colored markers.
Let's get the gun out, please, Bone. Okay, we wanted to help the player see their equipment during combat, so we upgraded the weapons display. As well as the ammo in the gun and the spare mags in their pockets, we also now show the player's explosives and med pens.
Oh man, the spare mags. Like, I realized when I was watching a lot of these panels that the UI is actually a reason I end up dying a lot in combat. Because I never think to double check if I have healable items equipped. So, like you guys have seen me do it, where I know I have healable items in my backpack, but I forget I don't have them equipped. So I forget I even have them and I die. And I feel like these kinds of things are going to be so much better at reminding you, you know, hey, you're not carrying any more ammo. Look, there are no clips underneath that. Maybe you should get some for your backpack. Oh, wait, you can reload from your backpack. Like, this is so much of the kind of little things that I guess makes the game easier that I didn't really think too much about. Well, okay, I thought about UI, but you know what I mean. Okay, it might be a skill issue too. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, let's fight the bad guys. There you can see our new explosives marker, designed to help you spot deadly grenades, mines, and missiles more easily.
Great aim. I think our guy is actually invincible.
You do it? Okay. Well done, Bone.
Reload! I got a really good video of this. I don't think I have it on this computer, but I had a really good video of him like not reloading and just staring at him as he sat there and drove the crowd crazy. You can't hear it in this video as much, but people were like, reload! His health dropped to 0.
Success. Okay. There's no more hostiles nearby, so let's take a moment to talk about the Mobiglass. The Mobiglass is the Star Citizen equivalent of your smartphone. It has various apps that hook into the gameplay systems. Like all the UI we're showing you today, we wanted to redesign it with the player's usability in mind, to make it look good and also lay the groundwork for future expansion. Let's bring up the Mobiglass, please, Bone.
Why did he ping, but we don't see the map equipped? I don't know. Maybe you have to download it first if you're in a city. Not sure. So I was really excited to see this, but it is a bummer that this is still the UEE Mobiglass. It doesn't mean anything for sure. Doesn't mean it will take a certain amount of time to come to the game, but the fact that they specify it's the UEE Mobiglass, you know, obviously means that the Star Citizen focused one maybe not ready for display. So this could be a little bit further out, which is kind of a bummer, but this is still really cool to see. I'm glad that they've got a lot more details and useful information on here. Yeah, they might have just disabled it for the reveal.
We've redesigned the interface to give a smoother user experience. We've overhauled the visuals, as you can see, to make it feel more three-dimensional and holographic.
Love the icon
This is actually a sneak
animations.
peek of the UEE military Mobiglass we've created for Squadron 42. This version has a focused selection of apps, and we're going to expand on that when we bring the Mobiglass to the Star Citizen persistent universe. We'll also have more of a smartphone feel in the PU with a wider range of apps. Okay, let's briefly talk about this home screen. It gives us an overview of our health, the environment, and even our ship. We can also check our mission objective. Okay, so that's enough about the Mobiglass. We've got some more really cool UI just around the corner. And to tell you a bit more about that is the very talented Zane Bien.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, they might not even tell you your hygiene by a bar.
Throughout human history, as we have ventured towards the allure of the unknown, we have used cartography as a key component to help shape our understanding and make sense of the world around us. Without these systems in place to catalog our experiences and to chart our journeys, we are forever lost amidst our own environment, and we are just running around aimlessly. This is why it is super important that you, as citizens of our ever-growing, ever-evolving, persistent universe, are equipped with the tools necessary to make your ventures meaningful. So, with that said, I want to show you something that I think is extremely cool. So, Bone, our next objective is to go to the map kiosk and download a terminal.
I lost it. I lost it at this. Internally, at least. This is really exciting.
Let's go ahead and activate it. What you see on screen, zoom out a bit, what you see on screen is a fully live 3D representation of the environment that we are in.
So, yeah. I mean, we'll get to this. I'm getting a little bit ahead of it, but like this is so exciting because it confirms that maps are data and that they're discoverable. Like, we've always kind of had these little debates in the community about like, oh, should there be a mini map? Well, no, this is some of the hardcore people want it to be more like you have to find your way around, and then they've had like navigation in the city, so we're like, well, then maybe they'll just use the signs, and then obviously, you know, a lot of more casual players want a mini map. So it was always kind of like, how are they going to do it where you can have mini maps, but they're not just holding your hand? And the idea that you might have to download maps, or you might have to wear a helmet or a special visor to see the mini map while you're walking around is so cool. And then obviously the details they get into here, I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it yet.
You can see callouts of the various default points of interest. You can pan the map around, you can rotate it, and you can even cycle the floors that you're on to isolate the visuals of the floor that you're on. So our current objective, it's much more interesting if we can actually take this on the go. So let's download it to our databank.
We don't really know exactly what that means.
As you'll notice,
we don't know like the complications that come with that, but you know, the downloading of the map is there, and that's pretty key.
We now have the representation of the environment in the upper left corner of our visor. Now, the thing that's really interesting to note at this point is not all environments will have such a convenient kiosk available. You may encounter run-down settlements, or you might come across a cave that no one else has ever set foot on before. What will happen in this instance is your radar will incrementally update your map, and it will incrementally reveal your environment and just save that to your databank. So you kind of reveal it incrementally. So this map, what we see in the upper left corner of our visor, is not really just a map. What it really is actually data. It's our radar. And we can see contacts on our radar as we scan. And it's basically what we have available in stored in our databank. So because we have the location data saved to our databank, we can obviously access that via our Mobiglass. So let's go ahead and pull it up in our Mobiglass, because this is going to get really interesting. So Bone, I would like you to cycle between the different floors for us, please. So you can see this lerping transition between the different floors and marker callouts of our objective and also where we are.
All right, can we
I would like to talk a little bit.
Can we go back real quick and just like take a quick little comparison of that original concept. Where is this? Here? Is it? Yeah. Let's take a look at their previs, what they wanted to do, and where they landed. Before we do that, Casper, thank you so much for the super chat. Take Mrs. Tomato somewhere fun. I'm thinking Jelly Belly Factory. What do you guys think? Appreciate your support so much. Hope you're enjoying this. And I think I saw something else here. No? Somebody just acknowledging Zane's biceps. All right, so here's like a side-by-side of what they wanted to do and what they ended up doing.
So Bone, I would like you to cycle between the different floors for us, please. So you can see this lerping transition between the different floors and marker callouts of our objective and also where we are. I would like to talk a little bit about the tech behind this. What you're seeing is not a pre-baked asset. And I want to reiterate that because all of our environments can be very dynamic and they can change. They can take damage. Perhaps economic shifts might cause changes in the environment. And we can't export totally custom assets. So what we've done is we collaborated with our graphics team to enable us to render the environment in this way. And what it is we're actually whitelisting objects that we render and excluding everything that we don't need to render. So in our level markup, we basically have the designers and artists mark up only the bits that are necessary for the map. This lets us have a very compelling visual, but without much of the cost. So I think what we can do at this point...
Yo, is the door control a wall hack? Like, what if you were in a combat situation, it's PvP, and you just look at the map and you can see that they open the door around the corner? Is that how, like, is that gonna happen? I'm scared.
What I want to show you is something very interesting. So,
show us.
We might look around on this map and note down certain areas that might look interesting that we might want to revisit later. We can see some doors on this map, and these doors are entities that are called out on the map, and they may change state. So there can be some doors which have a locked state, which they will display red. And doors that are open will be green. And there are other entity callouts that can happen in our map. So let's go ahead and find a location to put down a pin, please, Bone.
Throw out an EMP so people can't see you on the map.
Maybe that one. Maybe that door looks interesting. Press T.
Press T, Bone.
So what we can do is set a marker, and we can customize the details of that marker. Now, what you'll notice as well is as we set markers, there's metadata that is encoded into each of these markers on top of the customized name that we can specify.
That's it.
So
that's it right there.
We can...
Huh? That's it. That's exploration gameplay. Yeah? Like, we have talked about this so much on this stream. Oh my God, we have debated this. We've talked. We had it was like 2 weeks ago. We had a long discussion about what is exploration gameplay. Not gonna lie, like I've been saying, getting these markers, placing them in somewhere that's resources, people want the resources. This is literally all we needed for the exploration to be here. And we don't need jump points. We don't need new planets to discover. We don't need crazy asteroid gods. I don't know. All we need is mining stuff and a way to place a waypoint. And this is the birth of exploration finally happening. I can't wait to see how this plays out in Pyro, because I think Pyro is going to be a more interesting place to be placing waypoints and doing stuff, obviously, that people haven't found yet. But we'll see what happens with it. Anyways, tell us more.
Mark as many markers as we want in this map. And these are all saved to our data bank. And we can eventually share these markers and even sell these markers on the market. So the thing about this, we can't really talk about markers without mentioning data running. So you might specialize in exploration, whereas perhaps a miner might specialize in the equipment, and they make investments in their equipment. So you, as an explorer, might be in the business of going around and exploring and finding locations that are very valuable to other professions. And the role of these markers are very important.
Like, he literally just stated in one sentence what they want exploration to be. So we finally have our answer, a definitive answer on that. We still need to see more of what they add to it in game, but like, there's the general game loop. It's coming together. Sketo, thank you so much for the $5 for the super chat. Appreciate you. Don't mind how much you can do it or how little. Just being here, just hanging out. I appreciate you being in chat, buddy.
In coming up with the data, and so it's very important. We can basically, when you name your markers, you can make it as maybe obvious, or you can leave it a mystery. So you'll have, when you sell it on the market, you could get rated for how accurate the data is. So the other thing is, we have a mission objective as well, and it would be very nice to be able to route to that mission objective. How do we get there? That is another purpose of the map, is basically navigating and letting us know the way towards that objective, towards a destination. So let's go ahead and plot a route to this objective.
This is... Okay. This is a little controversial. Okay, it's not controversial. This is something that I think is, I guess, a point of conversation, because Star Citizen has always been kind of a push to, like, the whole navigate around city yourself sort of thing. I'm kind of about that, but also, you know, it's 2900s. I get it. Route navigation shouldn't be a hard thing to do. What I like about this is that it's tied to the maps. So the way I see this is, if you were to get a mission that took you to another planet, you might get route navigation to the city, but once you land in the city, it's not going to tell you how to get to your spot. So you would still have to go through the steps of finding the map or something, right? I don't think this is as handholdy as some people are making it out to be. But I will be interested in the little things that maybe make it more difficult to still find your way. Because I feel like a lot of Star Citizen players are the kind of people who, if there was a map marker on the screen or something, they'd turn it off. Which in the Squadron 42 demo, we did see that as an option. Data run is taking the new discovered map info and taking it to the central database. Yeah, or like a shop or something. It's kind of a bummer that they mentioned data running here and didn't go into it. I think you might as well just not mention data running if you're not going to get into it. I was sort of thinking they might, because, you know, it's about the time. Like, you're introducing a new system, and you're continuing to release, like, exploration ships, like the Cutter Scout. I feel like should have been a chance for them to talk a little bit more about their plans for mid-range scanning, which they did, but it was just slides, you know? Give us the gameplay, like all the rest of this stuff. Either way, this is interesting. I like what I'm seeing, but I know some people don't. You also, I think, need to have a helmet on maybe, or a visor to see the actual path in front of you. So this might just be for the map. Poets, how's it going? Good to see you. It's good seeing you at CitizenCon, man. Thank you for the beautiful pictures, by the way.
So, we can see a line being drawn from where we are up the stairs to our destination and where we want to go. So you will no longer be lost amidst all of our super complex environments. And what's worth mentioning at this point, and what's really cool, is this under the hood is actually utilizing another piece of tech, AI pathfinding. And so what that allows us to do is leverage other existing tech to basically, it does all the heavy lifting, we just make it look pretty. So because of that...
That is a very cool use. I don't know if other games do that, but using the AI pathfinding as a way to just map out a path to get somewhere is like a pretty nice double use of that tech.
There are certain cases where the path might be blocked. It might have a locked door, or there might be a fire that is in our way. The AI pathfinding will account for that. It will go through doors, it will handle elevators, and it will handle fires, locked doors, and it will just handle everything. So that is an example of sort of a piece of...
Is that how all games work? Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, I just thought maybe there was a different program for pathfinding versus the AI system, but yeah, it makes sense that all games would do that. I just never worked on a game, so I don't know.
That we've leveraged under the hood to help us achieve this goal. So, one last thing we can do at the moment is we want to ensure that there are no more hostiles in our way as we make our way to our objective. So what we can do is we can send out a ping. Bone, if you send out a ping, please. So the scanning will also be represented in the map in the same fashion as it is when you're in FPS. So we know that there's no more hostiles. Let's go ahead and make our way to our objective. As you can see in the upper left corner, we now have the route line represented, our destination, and the distance it takes to get there. As we traverse this path, the path automatically updates, and if you deviate from that path, it will recalculate the route you need to get to your destination.
Can I also say the decreased use of blue for everything is nice with the UI during these panels? Still a lot of blue, but there's a couple other colors in there now.
So we'll make our way up to the Carrack here, to the right. You'll also notice the pin that we've laid down, as well as our marker objective called out on the map. And as you'll notice, as we head up the stairs, the floor will dynamically change as you head up the stairs. If we can get past this first bit, if we don't trip up. So as we make our way into the Carrack, it's not just environments or caves or cities. We can represent the ship on our interior map. And it's totally seamless as you transition between the two.
This is pretty nice. This is very cool.
And get a wider view of our ship. So we are now on the technical deck, but we can also see the other floors. If you traverse the floors, Bone, just to demonstrate it. Here's our cartography deck. Down one. And our habitation deck. So you will have noticed from a previous presentation that this was very similar looking, right? It's utilizing our tech. So not only will this benefit you as a player, but it also benefits us as developers, because we generalize this system so that other developers can leverage our map to create compelling gameplay. So other teams can leverage our tech, and we leverage the tech from other teams, and it's a circle of life. And I think that's just too cool. For school.
For Zane.
So, we've been talking about environments, cities, representing ships on our map, maybe planet terrain. These are quite, I mean, our universe is quite big, right? That's only a small fraction of what our universe is. What happens? Have we tried this? What happens if we just take your mouse wheel and just zoom out a little bit?
That's kind of a Steve Jobs thing, right?
Keep
happens
going.
if we just scroll a little? Just pinch.
Keep zooming out, all the way out, all the way out.
We see you, Zane.
Let's
That
go.
is the only hitch. And I'm wondering if they're going to get rid of that, or if that's just kind of how it has to be, transitioning from that sort of what scale is this? This is doesn't say the scale. Go from like a I don't know, 30 maybe 50 meter scale up to like a 1 kilometer scale here. That's the only little like hitch in the transition in the map. So I wonder if they'll get rid of that, or if that just has to be there. But pretty cool.
Now, all the way out, all the way out. Let's go, let's go. So, it's not just the interior map, it's not just the radar, it is the map. It is one single unified system just across different scales. And I want, at this point...
Yeah, it's pretty great. Love the marker data bank up here. I wish we'd gotten more into that. More into like just discussion about markers and what the gameplay would be surrounding those, but maybe that's more of a next year topic. It feels like they just want to get these things in and then they can build on them, which is always their way of doing things. But what do you guys think of the map, of the design? This sort of like plate with a grid on it. I like that we now have a sense of scale of how far things are away. I was making a video. I was making the new player's guide I just released yesterday, and I was referencing the distance we needed to jump from one planet to the other, and I was so far off on the scale because I don't look at the numbers enough. So I like that we have a way of actually seeing what distances are. I'm sure there's a reason for going with the square, with the circle shape instead of like a square. Maybe it's design, maybe it's functionality. You like it? You wish it had more color, but it's great. If that's true, there is, yeah, it's missing some color. Glad they're toning down the blue. Less transparency would be nice. I was actually very pleased with the fact that throughout this demo, I forgot we were on the Mobiglass. Definitely not what happens when I'm using it in the current game. But, you know, your mileage may vary. Think distances will come up when you set up a route. Well, it tells you the distance now. It tells you around the sides. Here, it tells you some scale numbers, and it says 100 kilometers here. It's pretty nice. Need to pound into them what they need to get where you don't lose everything on your ship when you get disconnected. Make the grid more transparent. Will they make the ability to send map markers to friendlies? Yeah, that's part of the data transfer, data management gameplay, really. Search is going to be amazing. I think that's where the Mobi bands and hollow table options will come in more color. Well, look at here's a concept image that they had from before. This is what they wanted to do with the star map. I put it in enough videos that you've probably already seen it, but I'll pull it up again real quick. Look at me just assuming you've watched every video. The concepts that they've done. I just say that because like these are the only pictures we've had of the star map for like 7 years. They're concepts for it. So I try to pull it up every chance I can when I can find it. Here we are. So like this has way more color in it, right? You know, the planets, the icons, all that stuff. So maybe they will consider adding more color into these sort of hollow table designs, because here's what it looks like when it's coming from the star map. Still, or from the Mobiglass. No, that's the radar. This would have been the Mobiglass concept. Still more color. So it would be great if they could add more into some of the icons. You know, just to make it a little more, not even just interesting, but also pleasing. Are those the same things? Can you say the same things? Can you say both of those things and they mean different things? You're still betting they're going to scrap the entire insurance thing. Yeah, that won't lead to any lawsuits. Yeah, it's when it's loading between two types of maps. I'm just wondering if it's going to be staying there or not. Oh, I love Jared. I had a lot of fun with him at CitizenCon. Tried to show your girlfriend the hold the line video. She lasted 8 minutes. Well, not everybody loves amazingness. When will they make the sun? Like the whole thing? Forget video game. Just make a new star. Do you mean like this, the Earth's sun, or the sun, the star in this? Because they have made one. I mean, it's there. It's just a ball of light, but they may intend to refine the map. It sounds like it's being created from in-game assets, simply not rendered, except basically wireframe. Well, they want it to be a wireframe. That was their whole plan. If you go back to CitizenCon 29, oh man, I just refreshed. Probably not good that I have refresh right next to control. If you go back to CitizenCon 29, 52. Where is it? Here we go. And then this panel.
You can go straight into a mantle. Or
they actually talk about it here. Yeah, right here. So this is how this map came to be, at least the internal map.
Layouts, levels, ships. So we don't have to build this custom, but it's a way of applying certain shaders and marking up certain objects to be displayed, like the floor gets displayed, but the walls don't. So we can just take the existing geometry you already have streamed in that you're walking around already, and then use it to be rendered for our mini-map. So this is essentially in the engine using the Idris ship itself and the various parts of its interior to create the mini-map without any special. This doesn't have any specific custom like UI art for it, other than some of the like level things that say, you know.
I'm glad it ended up looking like this. I think they got pretty close. Again, that's just another example of the internal map they were working towards. But if you want to go back and watch that video, they explain the whole wireframe thing. What is cartography in Star Citizen? There is a point here where they show the ground map for a planet. I don't know if it's in this demo or another one. I think it might be in the engine demo. But essentially, cartography would be scanning those planets and, you know, having that data, sending that data to your org or something, or selling it, since either people would probably have to go and download the ground maps for planets and stuff, or find them. It'd just be easier to maybe pick them up when you're in another system before you even go, or something like that. So you want maps to Pyro planets, you don't have to go to the Pyro station, you can just get them from somebody in Stanton, or a store in Stanton, maybe an NPC. But I imagine that's kind of what cartography is. They've also talked about doing that with caves. and underground facilities and stuff. So I think generally they're just depending on people not having the local maps when they go places. LTI is a touchy subject, but you think the lawsuits would be worse if your insurance runs out and you got to pay $50 or something to get your ship back? Maybe not $50, but maybe they'll just extend the time by like time 10 or something. Or just say, you know, you have to buy it back in game instead of $50, because they do the same thing in Elite Dangerous, right? You lose your ship, you have to buy it back. Oh, no problem, Mouth 2. I did get to play Pyro at CitizenCon. It was awesome. No, I don't think it's necessarily scanning for resources, like literally mapping the ground. Would be cool if data decayed. Yeah, that would be cool. I think that's part of it. Maps age. All right, back to it. Oh.
It's not just the radar, it is the map. It is one single unified system across different scales.
Oh, crap. What did I do? What have I done? I'm sorry. I clicked on accident. I clicked the wrong thing, guys. Where were we? Now we got to go all the way back. I'm terrible. Here we go.
And I want...
Okay, I just wanted to go back to this one more time.
It's not just the interior map. It's not just the radar. It is the map. It is one single
I don't even have it pulled up.
system.
I just wanted to pull Zane up saying that again because I think it's so cool he gets to finally be on stage to say this after so long of wanting to get this far.
It's across different scales. And I want, at this point, we are above Crusader, and at this point I want to invite Emily Hansen onto the stage to talk about the map as seen at this scale. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello, CitizenCon! Are you ready for this?
She does such a great job with this. I think the star map's still pretty far
Do you
out.
want to click on the marker?
Like at least a few patches.
As you all suspected, this is the star map.
Yeah, this could definitely use more color. I think you guys are right. A little bit more vibrancy. Like the only pop of color on the whole screen is just this red little notifications thing.
I'm so excited to be here today to reveal this to you all. I hope you're excited too. Now, I think we all know the current star map needed a bit of work. And we've done that. Now, mapping the universe is no easy task, but we've taken some big steps forward with this upgrade to make it so much easier for you to navigate the stars. Before we dive into the details, let's just take a second to admire Crusader's new look. Bone, why don't you take a look around? Much like the interior map, the star map is holographic. And this lets us add some cool interference effects and details to our planet textures. You can also see our improved player marker and that we're currently at Orison. The player and location markers have merged at this scale because they're so close together.
I just can't get over how it doesn't fly everywhere and glitch all over the place when I turn it.
Displays the player icon and color.
Why aren't they just highlighting that?
By smartly merging with bigger points of interest at larger scales, the player marker always remains visible to you. You'll always know where you are relative to points of interest near and far. So, is everyone ready to see more?
And I love that you get like this sort of plane, and the plane doesn't sit on the solar plane. So it just adds much more context to the distances and like the scale of what you're doing. And, you know, they showed that the planets and jump points are now not going to be on the solar plane. So it'll be cool to see how that factors into quantum travel and stuff.
So we can see, take a look at Crusader and all of its moons.
This also reminds me a lot of the What's that thing called? Somebody tell me. Quick, hurry, before I forget it. What is it? Falling Frontier. Come on, guys, it took too long. The Falling Frontier star map actually looks quite a bit like this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because they have it in like all of their trailers. Hey, look, it's not in this trailer. That's what I get. Come on, give me a good video with this Soul trailer. This probably has it. Yeah, here we go. No. Yeah, no. Come on, Falling Frontier. Oh, you kind of get it there. It's like what they're... This actually still is more graphically interesting, I think. Falling Frontier has the coolest star map. But I do get, like, from the massive text labels and stuff, and I think they also do, like, subtext in this game. Why can't I just find, like, a solid recent video? That's not in game. I don't know. That's weird. Oh well, who cares? Anyways, it gives me some Falling Frontier vibes, and I think that's a great design, so... Yeah, check that game out if you want. It's a really cool space RTS coming out soon. Hooded Horse. They do good stuff.
Yeah, so here we are, Crusader, moons, orbits. You can also see that labels have received a major visual update. They're now fully 3D, and this gives them a really cool perspective. Most labels are aligned to the galactic plane, and they rotate with the map. Bone, give the map a spin. Bone?
I actually remember, I see you talking about the visual noise on the map. I remember the monthly report when they talked about adding space dust. That was when we kind of came to the conclusion that this was probably approaching completion. When you're working on space dust on a star map, you've probably run a little bit out of things to keep adding. Yeah, Manor Lords is under Hooded Horse as well.
Pass the horizon, please.
As is Satisfactory, I believe. And Hard Space Shipbreaker.
When we do this, the labels flip so you can always read them clearly.
Love the labels.
Labels for city markers and outposts work a little bit differently. Bone, let's double-click on Selin now to focus on it.
This is freaking great. Oh my god. You guys... we all know how bad it is. I would always thought to myself, like, man, they're gonna have to find a better way to label things across the planet. Thank you, guys.
Want to show this in action?
The one thing I'm kind of bummed out is that you're gonna have to rotate the planet in order to click on a place on the other side. But it probably would have been too cluttered if they tried to like put them like up here with a line going to their actual location. That probably would have been too much. So I think the whole moving it around and icons dynamically appear and reappear or disappear definitely clean it up a little bit more. So that's nice. And yeah, filtering is definitely going to be a thing we need. I'm sure they'll get to that. I actually was talking, when I talked more about a line leading to a destination, I guess I was talking more about the quantum drive view. When you're looking at a planet from your ship, instead of them showing like the dotted and solid line destinations, I always imagined they'd put the ones on the other side of the planet, like out here to the side. So I don't know how I'd want it on a map, but this is cool. I like the way they did this.
Markers on the far side of the planet fade out, so they don't take focus from the locations you currently care more about on the near side of the planet. Bone, can you double-click on one of the points of interest? As we selected this marker, its label will stay visible at all angles. So far, we've showed you that you can use buttons and double-clicking to jump to objects you're interested in. But wouldn't it be nice if you could also freely zoom out and into locations? Shall we try it, Bone? Let's zoom out until we can see Crusader.
The labeling's great.
We wanted to ensure you have freedom to move around, but this flexibility requires us to be really careful about how and when markers appear. Markers need to disappear when they get too small, but also stay visible when they're still relevant to your view. This isn't simple because objects in a solar system are vastly different sizes. Think about the size of a star versus a planet versus you, the player. You're kind of small compared to a star, right? Our solution is a technique we call cosmetic scaling. This allows us to draw a marker at its real size when we are close to it and artificially increase its size as we zoom out until we reach the point where it collapses into larger points of interest in the hierarchy. You can see this in action here. There's no way Crusader and its moons are this size at this scale in reality. They've been scaled up massively so you can see them. Bone, let's zoom out a bit more so we can see the moons disappear. You can also start to see Crusader's orbit line around the sun here. But before we move on to that, let's zoom back in so we can see everything come back as we get closer.
Yeah, I really like the way that the cursor works. The magnetic cursor is great. But as you go from different scales, and I think it's more obvious when you're zoomed at about the planetary scale, you're a little smaller than this, it gets very noisy. And I agree with you guys. I think having options to maybe change the scale of the grids, maybe you only want like 50-kilometer grids instead of 2-kilometer grids. Maybe you only want 100-kilometer grids. Maybe you want to change the opacity of the grid. That kind of stuff I think would be very useful for a map like this because by default there is a lot of noise. I hear what you guys are saying. And also the color would be nice. But I think some people also think this is perfect and want this. So I don't think they should change it from this to per se, but definitely the options to customize it a little bit would be nice.
As well as zoom, you can also pan around the map unrestricted. Bone, feel free to have a quick look around.
I don't think the sticky cursor seems very sticky. It actually looks like he almost has a little bit of trouble getting it to stick, so I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Look at that. You literally have to get the cursor like onto the moon for it to stick.
Never lose track of what you're trying to view when you zoom in. No more zooming in on empty space.
Oh, this doesn't upset my eyes. I tried to specify there, guys. I like this. I'm speaking for everyone here. Some people would like this to be customized.
Bone, let's use this technique to take a closer look at Yayla.
The grids can definitely help you navigate. Not saying they're bad. I'm just saying choice would be nice.
The magnetic cursor does not require us to click on markers. Keep zooming in. Bone, can you keep zooming in? Thank you. You can see that the surface markers appear without us needing to select Yayla itself. Imagine how much easier finding that outpost will be now.
How many times you end up on the void in the star map? How many times do you zoom into a moon on the star map and then you zoom out and it turns out you were actually inside like the sun?
Well, no, isn't all there is though. We've got a pretty big universe out here. Do you want to see some more? Let's have a look at a location further afield.
It is interesting they didn't do any set route to location across the map, so we could see how it would set that up from one local area to another. Like they should have set a navigate to New Babbage Central Store so we could see what it was like to land and go,
We're getting lost. Pretty sure we can all disagree this might not be the best strategy. So what can we do? Bone, let's try clicking on the middle button over here. This returns us to our previously selected marker.
Features I really could have used 5 years ago.
As I mentioned, we did not select Yayla, so we've gone back to Selin. So now we know where we are. That's a step in the right direction, but we're still not at Calliope. So we need to find a different way. Bone, could you use the step back button until we can see the whole solar system, please? And here it is.
Interestingly, yeah, so I don't think this is finished because they have also definitely talked about rendering gas clouds in the star map. Now, maybe that, I guess it would be very cluttered if they rendered those all over the system. Maybe you have to zoom in on them. But like you also mentioned in chat, we didn't get any route guidance on the star map either. Maybe there are a couple things that just aren't quite ready yet, and they didn't put them in demonstration. But that almost makes me more excited. Because if they left things out that aren't ready, that means that all the stuff that they included are more ready than they've been in the past with CitizenCon. Because normally they would have just done all the things. So, good and bad news, but it still feels like, yeah, they've got some things that they need to add to this before it's ready. It's not still in alpha anymore. This is the UEE star map. So this is past the feature, it's feature locked. So they're in the polishing phase. This is a beta asset at this point. And I think it seems like there's some polish in the route guidance that they still need because, or they just didn't want to show it. I don't know. But this isn't the Star Citizen star map. This is now technically the UEE star map. At least that's how they referred to it. Could have just been a double click. The Halo asteroid belt. Yeah, that's not, I wondered. Yeah, you'd think that would render without having to zoom in on it. Right, the Lagrange point stations. I wonder why they didn't demo this in Odin. If we ever get the Air and Halo Belt gates, they will probably need to be on the star map, right? Yeah, I think so. We're like jumping there. Isn't this how the navigation was supposed to be for Squadron 42? So your guess is that this wasn't set up completely for Stanton. Right. It is the Squadron map. And maybe it's just not made to like connect to all the locations in Star Citizen. Normally they would have had some scripted video and would talk over it. Or slides. Love those concept images. Yeah, there are a few things they didn't show here, so I'm sure they'll add more at some point or give us an update, hopefully from like a sprint report in the next few months.
I think Calliope is one of Microtech's moons. So if we double click on that bone, we should be able to see it. And there it is. Bone, let's pan to it and then zoom in so we can see that magnetic cursor in action again. Can you zoom in, Bone? Thank you.
I also like the 3D aspect of the cursor, how like
Zoom in, Bone.
you can really easily search off the galactic plane or solar plane.
Can you zoom in, Bone? Thank you.
Imagine if they give us, what, 100, let's say 50,000 kilometers of vertical distance off the galactic plane. It'd be cool. That would offer us a lot more space for like little points of interest and stuff. Not that they need any more space. Space be big, man.
It's so cool to see more of our moons and planets and how different they all look. Okay, so this is great. But what if I hadn't already known where Calliope was? Surely there's a faster way. We've got you. We've provided a drop-down that lists the points of interest in the solar system. Bone? Want to expand it now?
Yeah! Freaking search, dude. God. Like, you know what else needs search? Now that we've got it in the map, please give us search and knickknacks. Because I don't know about you guys, but knickknacks is basically useless without search, right? Like, where did I store that med pen? Oh, let me go to Lorville, which I have to first go through Hurston. Oh, it's not there? Well, let me back all the way up to the solar menu and go down to the outpost on Yellow. Like, it's so terrible to use knickknacks. I can't wait for search. Oh yeah, no, sorry, not search, a drop-down. You're right. We're still not getting search yet. Okay, fine. Drop-down's great, but we need search and knickknacks. Both will be great. I love having a drop-down though because like you don't. We all know why it's wonderful. I'll let her explain.
We're actively working on ways to improve the way this list is presented to you, to make it even easier to find what you're looking for, And yes, this will include search functionality.
Will include search. Not yet.
But for now, Bone, let's use this to go to Aerial.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the knickknacks rant. I can't get over that app. It bugs me.
I absolutely love zooming around on this map. Bone, want to find Area 18 for me?
Ooh, I love that. That's pretty cool.
So, Area 18 is currently on the dark side of the planet.
Like, there's so much. Somebody just mentioned in chat, makes you realize how bad off we were. I have that every year. When we were able to finally send money to each other. It's like, oh my God. When we were able to buy ships in game. Oh, geez. When we got an inventory. It's like, oh my, thank you. Now we're going to get an actual working star map with, here's how small it is. Icons that show what kind of location you're going to. Like, the little things that we've never had.
Of course, it's not just planets and moons. Bone, how about we take a look at Security Post Korea? It's quite a long way down, isn't it? This is where the upcoming search will really come in useful. Bone, want to zoom in a little and show off our holographic model of this station? Bone, can you also drop down again, please? Thank you. As you may have noticed, the recent list in the drop-down populates as you click on locations in the list. It will remember your 3 most recent selections, so you can use this to quickly return to places in case you want to check something out again. Bone, let's use this to go back to Aerial.
Oh, William, when I said people don't know how bad it was, I mean people who weren't playing.
So we've done a lot of exploring. I think it's time that we head back. We could do this by selecting Orison from the list, but we also have our own marker that we can take advantage of here. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that the player marker clamps to the edge of the map, keeping it visible to you no matter how far away you go. To get back to our position, we could double-click that marker, or we could click the first of the navigation buttons to zoom straight there. Now, I'm sure many of you have been wondering if we can go back to our carrot map from the star map, just like how we got here from the carrot map just a few minutes ago. So, let's see what happens when we focus on our player marker. Go ahead, Bone.
That's that kind of quality of life stuff they just never really included, even in Tier 0 and Tier 1 features. Stuff like pinning the personal icon on the side of the map, having unique navigational tools. Like, I guess we have had a couple of tools like this, but like these little things that they've added to these features all kind of factor into why I consider this CitizenCon so much better, because so much of it is based around actually looking like a game. You know, we can continuously be like, yeah, every CitizenCon they do this. They always bring out some marketing video. They always show us something to make us excited. But I don't see why there would be any reason why for 10 years they didn't know what a good game looked like. And so all those marketing videos had these kinds of missing elements. And then suddenly on the 11th year of CitizenCon, they figured out, oh, this is how we make assets that look like a finished game. That doesn't make sense to me. So in my mind, I see this as progress on the actual assets they've made. And that tells me that, like, you know, whether it was the time that was needed, whether it was the tools, whether it was bad management, whether it was, I don't know, they needed a pandemic to happen, whatever it was that changed, these demonstrations and assets and the little things and details about them all feel much different from times past. So I love that. There is the star, yes. It's very small looking from here. $50 years to get 100 systems? Dude, you ready to hold the line for 50 years? Could they also have been guarding proprietary info from other game developers? I mean, it's not like people can just use this stuff once they unveil it. They've always revealed all of the tech they had at those times. Okay, I don't know that actually, but they've shown us off proprietary stuff plenty of times before. Call me a copium addict, but I still say we will get Nyx and Pyro near the same time. Best of luck. The Poets, you sent a photo dump. Thank you. Hello, Java. It was good to meet you. Hope you enjoyed the event. If this game still gets updates for decades, that's a huge win. Yeah, that's like the silver lining of the grandkids joke. If this game is still going when my grandkids are playing, then good job, CIG. Very nice to just go right back to where navigating is going to be so much easier.
So yeah, here's Icaric again. Being able to simply zoom between these map contexts lets you draw meaningful connections between what's on the ground and what's in the skies like never before. Bone, just for fun, let's zoom all the way back out so we can see the entire Stanton solar system. It's just so cool to watch the verse open up before our eyes.
Keep going. Come on, then. That would have been a freaking crazy reveal if they zoomed out and there was like the Pyro system was connected and then there was like one other system, maybe Magnus was connected or something. That would have been a gnarly, I guess it probably would have been Nyx, but that would have been pretty cool.
With all these new possibilities for moving around the star map, you should never find yourself lost again. The controls are so much smoother and easier to use than the star map you're all used to, as I hope Bone agrees. Knowing that what we've shown here today is just the beginning for the upgraded star map. You saw pinning in the local map, and we'll add this to the star map before you get it. Just imagine being able to mark something
they've still got some things to work out here. Kind of funny then. It's like that technically isn't feature complete, right?
The star map before you get it. Here today is just the beginning for the upgraded star map. You saw pinning in the local map, and we'll add this to the star map before you get it.
I don't know. Maybe they won't need that for Squadron.
Being able to mark something interesting you find out there in the verse, and then sharing that location with friends, just like Zane said. Exploration is about to get a lot more interesting, and we're doing everything we can to ensure the star map is your brightest window to the stars yet. And now, let's welcome our intrepid demo driver, Bone, back to the stage.
Yeah, so is that like the map is considered the feature and adding pinning would be a polishing move then?
Thanks a lot.
Oh no, I don't think base building's coming in 12 months.
Excited about getting all these features into your hands of the players of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. We know they're going to make a huge difference to the way you make your way around the universe. So let's just quickly review what we've seen. We've rebuilt the visor display to give you a better understanding of the environment around you. With the new minimap, with the integrated radar and ping, and it will help you find your way around. There's a new Mobiglass coming with its sleek new design. We're improving all the existing apps, and we're going to develop some new ones too along the way. So we've got a video now. And then there's our interior map technology, which will truly help you understand your surroundings. Better awareness of your surroundings and threats, exploring new mapping new areas, pinning locations for later and sharing these with your friends.
Oh, sorry. I totally tuned out there. Just like sitting there enjoying what we were seeing. So this is the one part where they show a planetary surface. And I think it's curious that they didn't give us any looks at planetary surfaces throughout the demo. Thinking this is a part that might be unfinished, might not be as prepared.
You understand your surroundings.
But this, I think, would be part
of your surroundings and threats.
Okay, sorry, Bone. I think this would be part of exploration. You know, part of cartography would be coming to planets and like being able to map out this valley so that people knew there was empty space there, and maybe you could. You know what? I bet you if there's like a land claim terminal in the central places in the universe, Stanton and Terra and stuff, if there was a land claim terminal, that would be an amazing place for exploration gameplay. Because you could basically say that land claim terminal is a store. People can buy land claims for certain locations, and people can sell mapping data so that people can see where those land claims would be. Because like, if we have 200 planets, yeah, at some point we'll be able to map out all those planets, but it would take a while, right? Like all the specific little valleys and locations and stuff. Yeah, map out where resources are. I feel like a land claim area would be like a solid non-player location to turn in data. Ready to pin and mark a couple of spots in the Halo with the Terrapin. Hop back to the station, jump in with a vulture, and head out and make use of them. It's a good life. Maybe MSR... The MSR has a scanner that's more meant for data. I think it would be something like a... Yeah, like a Terrapin, I think. Would be mapping out planets, maybe? A Terrapin's a scout. Pathfinder. What would be getting planets? Carrick? Land claim purchase you hope will see a flagpole. And you physically have to go to the location and scan it and build it. Yeah, it's got like a beacon. At least that's what they sold, as like a metal beacon with a light on top. In Star Wars Galaxies, the resource heat map would shift around over a long time. Okay, cool. So updated scans. Yeah, I'm guessing they could do something like that in this game. Maybe there was something in Wing Commander. Don't think they had planets in Wing Commander though, huh?
Areas. Pinning locations for later and sharing these with your friends.
And clients.
Or the Idris. That looks great.
We could do that side by side again here, if I can find it. Oh yeah, look, it's still up. So we can just take a look at what this, let's see. I think there's a pretty solid, something like this. Throw this over here, throw this over here.
It gives us all of the information that we...
You can see
the interest.
Their concept of this sort of last year versus how it showed up. And honestly, it looks really, really close. Like yeah. I mean, I guess they did say this was working tech. The blue is a little off. Come on, CIG. That's definitely a different color blue. What are you trying to pull here?
Some more of Horizon. Let
me give you a little bit of music, Bone.
And of course, our entirely new integrated Starmap with its new interface and, let's face it, a much needed refresh to the user experience. No more getting lost. A whole new perspective. With all these upcoming features, where will you explore today?
I totally thought
Thank
he
you
was
very
going to
much.
say, where were you when we introduced the star map? Can I give you some like Star Citizen music to talk to?
Cheers.
Nope, they're over. Okay, cool. So I got to the very last second of the whole thing, and then I gave them some Star Citizen music to talk over. Super kind of me. So that was the map. I love what we've seen. What do you guys think?
Can't really
What are
talk
your
about Mark.
what's your take, guys? Does this feel like a map that you would accept as like a final version? Obviously, optimizations, a couple missing features, things that they still need to add to polish it out. But as a map, you guys consider this a final version? Because like one of the complaints about Star Citizen is all the iteration. You know, oh yeah, you're working on a new version. You're working on a new version. But like, how many times are you going to do that? How long is it going to take? Does this feel like a final version for you guys that we're actually seeing, and they're not going to have to like reintroduce something again in 2 or 3 years? It is amazing, but when? They didn't say when on some of these more important things. I think this will be sometime late next year, at the earliest. Showing you things you did not expect, better than your... Yeah. I didn't expect some stuff either. Definitely stuff I didn't expect, but also missing stuff I did. Starfield meets Halo vibes. You don't want to play Map Citizen? Luckily, you probably never have to open this map if you don't want to. You're the weird guy that met you and Morph and Mrs. Tomato out front. No, but I didn't meet a single weird person over the weekend. My concern with the map is that there won't be enough left up to discover. Well, they haven't, I mean, they're building the game, right? So they know that they need to build good exploration gameplay for people to enjoy it. Just like they knew they needed to build a map, they needed to have puzzles, physics puzzles, they needed to have working AI, they needed to have a good FPS model. All of the things we've been worried about, they've continuously showed us that they do think about those things. I don't think that they're just gonna throw a map into the game that suddenly kills off on an entire profession. Arguably the most desired profession in the community. I think we'll be okay. Lots and lots of stuff that's already been discovered that still needs to be shared to people who haven't gotten the data for it. For instance, how many people in this chat could tell me exactly where I could find Quantanium right now? Because you could sell that. I've definitely found rocks in the game that I've wanted to sell off to other people for money. That people would probably buy if it was easy to actually get there. The only bit you see them having to work on are accessibility options. Good call. Yeah. Accessibility is a big thing and something they actually didn't talk too much about when it came to the UI. Not enough about. Very unhappy about the porting dev system they set up. What do you mean by that? Porting dev system? We went to the burrito truck together and you're still denying my existence. Admit that you met a weird person. How about I rephrase? I didn't meet anybody who wasn't different than the rest of us there. We're all a little bit weird. If this is feature complete for Squadron, I could see this coming to the PU fairly quickly in comparison to previous update sprints. I can't wait to see if they prove it out. I would think I was saying before the CitizenCon that we're 2 years into the whole, they're developing it for Squadron 42 and it'll come to Star Citizen afterward. This is good because it'll receive polish. And I'm not going to lie, after 2 years of hearing that and not really seeing any truly polished features, I was starting to be like, you really need to show up with this, guys. Like I was getting to the point where I was starting to think maybe they're not being able to polish them. So this CitizenCon came at a very good time. And they have finally shown what that actually means, polishing for Squadron 42. And I'm not going to lie, 2 years of that, I can see it. I can see how that work showed up. I wouldn't have expected them to be able to go from, you know, however many years ago, if it was 2 or whether it was 3 maybe, that they were working on some of these systems to this in less time. You're super happy that they are forward thinking enough to make the map systemic and data-driven. Hypothetically, it should scale with all the new locations that are coming with minimal effort. Yeah. CitizenCon is a lot of promises. I will remain skeptical until the feature comes closer to fruition. Which feature? Some of these features are already in game that they've shown, right? Some of them, they showed them off and they were like, this is in 320. Some of them, they said, this is in 321. And some of them, they said, is coming by the end of the year. So, depends on the feature. But I get it if you're saying, like, you won't believe a feature is ready until it's in game. I get you there. That's perfectly fine. Still bummed we didn't get a date for the map specifically. Or for the game, for Squadron 42. I'm thinking 2025 is a safe bet. They should take the 2 years. I hope they do. I would much prefer them take longer on this game and be sitting back with their heads in their hands, not burned out, not having crunched for a year, and not completely stressed. I prefer them to just take 2 years. We've waited long enough for this. Do not rush it out and ruin everything with a buggy, incomplete game, you know? Like, how freaking terrible would it be if this game launched and there were still significant bugs? There will be bugs, but like game-breaking bugs. That'd be awful. How do I think data running and science play into what was shown here? Science is absolutely baffling to you. The idea of data runners having advanced scanners, they overlap a lot. Well, I've explained my thoughts. Actually, you could probably search for Star Citizen, let's see, exploration on YouTube. Nope, my video doesn't come up. Oh, here it is. So in this video, I go into a ton of depth. It's like a 16-minute video. I talk about what I think short-range exploration looks like. I talk about what I think... Man, where are all the things? So the process of exploration, mid-range exploration, short-range exploration. I go into the motivation of exploration, such as looking for resources. I talk about touring potential. There's a lot, I think, that'll go into it. I'm not going to go into a ton of depth here because, like I said, there's a video to watch for that. But I think that data running is mostly going to be about resources. Those people are going to be finding minables and salvageables and old battles and unexplored caves, or maybe explored caves that have respawned resources or new NPCs. I'm hoping that it will also allow us to mark points of interest like rivers and mountains, specific valleys, geological features. They're talking a lot about using machine learning for planetary formation that actually creates unique features. If you can mark those down, those locations will be super valuable to people who are running touring companies, you know, people who get 890 jumps and want to take cruises out, who are doing passenger transport. Maybe they have to fill up the delight meter in the NPCs they're flying around, so they need a good nebula to fly by. You could always tell them what the location of the best gas cloud in the system is, like. And that's just the player-to-player kind of stuff. Obviously, the game can give us missions of people who are like, oh, I need this part surveyed. Can you go get the stuff? And maybe you can complete the map by doing the survey, or maybe you can do it by flying to your friend who already did the survey and just buy it from him. I don't know all of how it will work, but from what they've said, that's what it seems like it's going to be. Let me close this down. I think we're about finished. Oh, with YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be that simple, the outro. They need Squadron to be as bug-free as possible. Yeah. Squadron's going to be under such a microscope. It's... Oh, man. It can't live up to the hype. I mean, I think we should already all accept that because it's so rare for a game to take this long to develop right now, the expectations will also match that rarity. And, you know, I believe that CIG can make a good game. But I don't know if they can match the expectations for something like this. I mean, they might not match our expectations, but I'm talking about, the public, the people who have been watching this and saying, well, they're not working on a game. It's been so long, the more general community. Wonder if orgs will have to have some kind of data bank to download and upload info. As long as it comes with a bank account, that'd be great. So I want to be able to send money to my org members more easily without that dang UEE taxing me for it. The Bo Wolf, thank you for the sub on Twitch. Appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying the stream. As long as it is on Red Dead Redemption 2 or Witcher WoW level, you're more than good. Even if it had like a 9 out of 10, this game would still probably be missing what people think it should have. People are going to expect a 10 out of 10 game here. When are you saying this? Will it be hard to match your expectations after last Sunday? Yeah, sure. Will it be hard to match my expectations from last week? Not at all. I think expectations going into the game. So like, as you're opening the game, I think our expectations are going to be pretty high. A long time. But I get what you mean. After seeing CitizenCon, obviously the game looks better than a lot of us expected it to. Think they know they need to do everything they can to make Squadron really great to counter the false scam narrative. Have they stated how many hours it will be? They originally were planning on, I think, 20 or so hours, but from what they've shown us, I'm thinking it's going to be longer. Maybe 20 if you beeline through the story. Expect to play it all like Wing Commander, nothing more, nothing less. I probably should play that game before Squadron comes out. People are going to look at the money and time and expect it to be everything they want and more. Just stoked for 42 just to experience all that gameplay. How many people in chat were of the mindset that nobody really cared about Squadron? Or that, like, Squadron just was sort of a really background and wasn't going to matter that much, and are now actually excited for it. I think what they showed us changed a lot of people's opinions of that game. Not just gameplay-wise, but, like, importance. A lot of people thought Squadron was a very background thing compared to Star Citizen. And now it's looking like the thing more people might know about. At least, outside of Star Citizen. You're opposite, now you're less interested. You weren't planning because it was a single player game, now you're all in. You weren't into it? 20 hours seems extremely low. Depends on what happens in that 20 hours. I think you can make a very dense, satisfying campaign in 20. And then, another 10 hours to complete everything. Still pretty indifferent. You backed for Squadron 42. Okay. You always looked at it as the demo. If it's good, then SC will be good. As long as server meshing's good. You don't give a flying crap about Squadron. Okay. Still don't care. Because you backed for Star Citizen. The reason was not a lot was said about Squadron in terms of gameplay. True. We didn't see much either. We could play Star Citizen the whole time. Well, okay. Kinda. Won't say how many people are into Squadron. However, there are people who became interested. Most likely people suggested they didn't care in bad faith when they really did. Nothing to back that claim, just intuition. 20 hours of gameplay will take you months. You watched Wing Commander the movie last weekend, so you no longer need to play Squadron 42. Careful with those spoilers. Don't care about Squadron until you started looking more into it. Okay. You grew up on Wing Commander. Yeah, I think people who played previous Chris Roberts games are typically more excited for Squadron. Might not be an exact math, but seems to correlate. Didn't see any dialogue options. I don't think we saw any dialogue from the player's perspective. But they used to have dialogue options in the old vertical slice. I don't see why not. Remember they said that we would have the option to color our Mobiglass interface. I guess that's no longer an option. I bet it's still an option. Just because they didn't say it here doesn't mean it's gone. Many people that are upset that the price might increase is very telling. It'll blow people's mind if what we saw was real, yeah. I agree, as long as the writing is good. Good way to look at it is, how many other MMOs have a single player game that is all in the same game engine and utilizes the same game environment? Does Elder Scrolls Online do that? I think that's the only one I can think of. Your first space game was Freelancer? Mine is Star Citizen. I mean, I like space RPGs and stuff, but my first flying spaceships game is Star Citizen. Black Desert Online does that? ESO does not at all. The Old Republic does? Really? What's the single player game for the Old Republic? ESO's built-in creation. Doesn't use the same engine as any of the ES games. Okay. Oh, not built in the creation. Right, that would make sense. Would that explain why it performs so much better than Fallout did? 76? What kind of pickup line do I think would work on me? One's from Mrs. Tomato. Her pickup lines are pretty lame, but I love them. The whole game is a single player story of ESO or the Old Republic. Still think a lot of the pessimists are people who never played a Wing Commander game. I think there's still going to be plenty of pessimists until the game comes out, you know? I mean, a lot of responses to these videos, especially like the Held the Line trailer for Squadron. It's like, people were straight up like, oh, so it looks like, the fans have all gotten tired of Star Citizen and they can't make money off of that anymore. So, I guess they're gonna have to start using a new game to scam people. I'm like, it'll never be enough. They'll have to release the game. Everyone needs a PC. You know, bias, you know, but console is obsolete at this point. No, I love console. Console is simple. Console is packaged. Console uses optimized equipment so you can have the same one for 8 years and continue to play the same games. You can't build a PC and play the same games for 8 years. I mean, you can, but most people can't. You'd have to build a pretty nice PC at the beginning of that period. I feel like consoles are a very, very nice way to play games. I'll never not have a console. Pessimism will stay. Pessimism will stay after the game comes out. My favorite part about this whole thing is that we actually, as a community, have like made this happen. If it does happen, you know, we're still working towards it. It's still soon TM, but it feels nice to have had a part in helping to finally make this happen after all this time of the questions, you know, of if it will or not. And maybe the game will come out and it won't be great, but I'm glad that they've been able to produce something. A game. Like, it better be good. But it's nice to finally, you know, after all the times of people being like, oh, it's a scam. Maybe it took too long. Maybe it had some problems, but they're producing a game. Have people really said that? Oh, yeah. Squadron 42 is the new grift. Little do they know, they've both been grifting. It's been in here the whole time. What's that meme? Was like that the whole time or whatever. You know, guy in the spacesuit, gun to the back of the other spacesuit guy. You hope the game never goes to production. What? PC doesn't have to be top tier to last a decade. Tell that to my 1080 Ti. That card was amazing, and it's starting to struggle now. How old is that card? When did it come out? The 17th? Is that 6 years ago? What's a 10-year-old card? What's a PC built, mid-range PC built in 2013? What does that look like? I'd be curious, actually, to know if a PC from 10 years ago that's not that expensive can run these games. Let's say, what, $1,000 would be a proper build? Monthly gaming PC build, $1,000. Is that mid-range? Oh, I still use my 1080 Ti. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it struggles. So this would be what? 8 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive. Oh God, not a SATA, not a hard disk drive. I don't know. I think it's probably the CPU that would struggle the most from 10 years ago, right? A 7080. $1,000 is a good PC today. That should last at least 5 years. Yeah, the poets, you could probably answer this. Would a mid-range PC from 10 years ago be good today? Because I just heard there's some game that's getting crap because they actually just announced that they're going to kind of not be supporting the 1080, the GTX 1080, and a lot of people were mad about that. But other people were like, you shouldn't expect to be able to run a game well. 1080p. You shouldn't be able to run a game well with a card that was released in, what was this, 2016? I don't know. It depends on the games, I guess. But I feel like a console will last you longer than a PC to run games. Like the Xbox One, what is it? Xbox One X, I think is probably going to be able to run games better than a PC built from then. Because the manufacturer takes a ton of time to make sure the parts can run better together, right? That's the whole point. That was the whole point of the Xbox, at least. The direct Xbox. You need 16 gigs to run SC. Okay, but what about a normal game? Watch the content for a while now and love your really even look at SC. Thank you. I'm glad there are so many people that like even looks and have them. GPU alone is $1,000 today. Yeah, that's pain. GPUs cost so much now. 6,700 is $300 with discounts now. That's not pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Fairly the same lifespan. Okay. I was under the impression that consoles were built to last a little bit longer, but maybe not be as powerful. Oops. do a new build for Squadron 42. I'm so lost on my PC builds at this point. I don't know, because we have to like keep all 4 PCs at this point. Running the PC parts back and forth between Turkey and America has led to a few failures. So now we've built out gaming and streaming PCs in both, and I'm starting to get so confused as to which one has which parts. It's killing me. Asus sent you 4090 and it's a $3,200 GPU. See now why. The 360 PS3 era lasted way too long. That was pretty wild, and that probably threw off people's expectations for how long we should stay in a generation. Consoles are well defined. Yeah, you got dev kits and all that stuff. Make lists? Fairwin. You should see what my lists look like. In fact, didn't we have one here? Didn't we have a list? Where did that go? My CitizenCon list. Was there anything else on here that we came across today that I didn't mark in? FPS radar and scanning, that comes later. Starmap, new quantum travel, crafting, yeah, all this stuff. None of this was in there. New ammo or damage types, quantum. We didn't hear about damage types. That's interesting considering the FPS talk. Exploration gameplay. Nah. That was all talk, not gameplay. Difference with console is devs can optimize the heck out of it as it's a known target. Right. It's the same problem that they had with Android phones versus iOS phones. Consoles don't require monthly subscriptions. I mean, if you want to play online, yeah. Ew, but who likes people? Mop and bucket. Yeah, we threw that on there. The old mop and bucket. Consoles are good bang for buck performance-wise, yeah, but PCs get more cost-effective partway through the console cycle. Sure, as like the console ages out. And like if you were going to buy a console right now, you'd end up feeling bad because they're going to release the updates, the mid-cycle updates, probably in the next year or two. What was the Word doc that said probably not? That was predictions for this year from CitizenCon, yeah. Didn't really get to see hacking, which we're kind of bummed on that. Yeah, I thought they were going to sneak it in the Squadron 42 demo. They were talking about hacking a little bit, but nothing. Any favorites of this demonstration that you guys had? Any particular map? Was it I think it was the star map, probably for most of us. Engineering will lead to hacking. Well, they teased the Legionnaire, so they've got to have hacking somewhere. And I don't think that was on the progress tracker. In fact, we didn't even go over the roadmap roundup from yesterday. Let's check that out real quick. See if they add anything. Progress tracker. Additionally, let's see. Squadron 42 is now feature complete. Game has moved into polishing phase, which you'll see reflected on the progress tracker, okay? Additionally, Squadron 42 teams have been divided into strike teams, represented as new teams on progress tracker. These teams' headcount is represented by the main stakeholders, but the teams themselves are comprised of developers across multiple disciplines, including design, engineering, art, audio, and more. They will be working on a single deliverable, Squadron 42 polishing. Man, that's so good to read, guys. As their tasks become more agile and they work towards beta and release. As was the case with Squadron 42 teams previously, these teams will only display 1/4 of work at a time. They've added 4 strike teams to Progress Tracker with this publish, with additional ones added in the future. No, there was no hacking in the Squadron demo. Love the new HABs you've been checking out. Love how we will put up our flare. Yeah, that is cool. Release view. They have added ship trespassing. The interior of players' ships are now considered trespass zones for those without permission to enter. Permission will be granted via the party system until more complex systems for managing crew and passengers is created. Okay, so we're going to have, I'm guessing that's engineering gameplay, is where the management stuff is going to come from. Players trespassing aboard a ship can be attacked by the owner of the ship and any player in their party without fear of committing a crime. They also added 2 ships, and somebody told me that they went committed on something else. Oh. Yo, Casper. Thanks for the super chat towards your forthcoming GPU and PSU upgrades. Appreciate you. Thank you. Really, it means a lot. I actually probably need a CPU first. But whichever one, we will definitely shoot for that. I appreciate you, Casper. Let's check out the release view real quick. Somebody said that there was a little update on here for, I guess, 321. Okay, Crusader platforms released. Ah, vehicle tractor beams have been committed. Cool. So we know these are coming for sure. Probably in whatever the next patch is. So maybe the IAE patch. Or maybe they won't do it. Maybe IAE will be 3. Yeah. So that's got to be it. All of the rest of these patches come with IAE 321. And then they want to do 322 in December? They should be testing this in PTU pretty soon then, I think. Yeah, everything's pretty much committed. They're still... Oh, they committed the C1 too. Okay, cool. So the C1's committed, the Storm's committed, the SRV is committed. All the ships we thought we would be getting there are committed, and I think there are also probably like 7 more somehow coming out after this. Like, you guys saw that. You saw that that slide, right? When they were like, yeah, we got all these ships coming out. Here are the ships that are going to release within the next... By the end of the year. There were like at least 12 spots on there. And so far we've gotten the Scout. We see the SRV, the Storm, the C1, the A1, and the F8C. That's 6. What the hell? What else could there be? I'm thinking the X1, the G12. Let's say the G12's variants, that gives us 10. There's still like 3 or 4 more that we would need to be getting by the end of the year. So I don't know what those ships are. Yo, Griffin, thank you for the raid on Twitch. Hello, my friend. Good to see you, man. We didn't get to talk, dude. We did not get to talk as much as I wanted to at CitizenCon. I feel like I'm going to be saying that to everybody. It was so busy, but it was fantastic to finally meet you in person. I can't wait to get the chance to get on podcast with you and talk about what you thought. How you doing, though, dude? SRV is a big deal, meaning a lots of extended gameplay. Yeah. Yeah, the SRV is going to be great. You have an AMD 59X you can send me. No, my friend, I can't accept that. Thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat and the offer, Casper. I would prefer if you joined me in game on that 5900X so you could take over when my computer's on the fritz. Seriously, would love to see you on the Discord. Come in game and play with us a bit. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate your support. Not sure what this stream is based around. I'm all ears. Tig Kelly, welcome. We were talking a lot about mapping. All the stuff they showed us from CitizenCon about maps and UI. One of the most effective updates, I think, that they announced. But now we're on to, like, updates and what's going on in new patches. Yeah, very busy weekend, Griff. Yo, Fast Car's in here, too? Hey, what's up, Fast? It's good to see you as well, man. Only got to see y'all Saturday at the Art House. Yeah, and I saw you, like, last minute when we were doing our podcast. It was crazy, dude. You have a good time? It ships released in 2023. Oh, was that ships in 2023? I thought he was saying they were the ships still needed to be released. I would like to confirm that. That seems pretty important. Allow randos to play with me? Generally, I tell people they need to hop into the org to play, just so that we can be sure that we know the people who are coming in. Not a difficult process. We allow basically anybody to join. You don't get the point of the SRV in-game right now? I mean, I needed one the other day when I ran out of fuel. But you can also get thruster damage, where you can't fly straight. There's tons of wreckage that hangs out around space stations that people don't remove. People did abandon their ships and they get in the way of landing pads and stuff. A lot of times people leave stuff around we don't need left around. But the SRV is also going to be the only one that can, well, vehicle tractor beams in general will be the only ones that can carry large boxes. Tony, thanks for the support. Really enjoy the content and energy on these topics. Appreciate you. I'm glad people like these topics. Starmap's freaking exciting. I love this one. Must have been back here somewhere. There was an end of the year ship list and a next 12 months ship list. Right. I'm talking about end of the year, but I'm being told it was actually about the whole year. I just want to confirm that. Casper, thank you again. You have a motherboard, RAM, and CPU. Put it to use. Do you just have extra computers? Wonder if you'll be able to steal people's map tags like in the Herald. I think that's a kind of an MRSR thing, right? Intercepting data. Or yeah, a Herald thing. Where the heck was the slide? I think it was John Crew that presented it. So that was the 12 months list. But I am not... Okay, that's the ship team. Turbulent. Here we go. All right. So this is it. Let's hear. Was it all year or end of year?
So here is a big block of squares that represents our backlog. So each one of these squares is a ship or a vehicle. All the light blue ones are all the ones we have released to date. All those gray ones are the ones that we have not done yet.
Okay. Yeah. New in 2023, it says.
Ones are the ones that will be in your hands by the end of the year.
Okay, cool. That's what threw me off. He said in your hands by the end of the year, but he meant because we already have them in our hands. That makes it easier. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That matches up a little bit better. Confirmed. So we got Hull C, Fury X. Let's go back to 319 as well. Hull C, Fury X, Lynx, regular Fury, Fury MX, Vulture, Scorpio Centaurus. That's 7. A1, C1, Tumbrel. It's 10. SRV, Cutter. That's 12. So they might have actually released every ship then. That means that we might not get any more ships this year? That doesn't sound right. I feel like they always release something at IAE. Play it again. Light blue is to date, so that would include 2023. Yeah, but the dark blue does say new in 2023. See, they kind of labeled it a little confusingly. We will get a concept. I think we'll get a straight to flyable as well.
The future. So each one of these squares is a ship or a vehicle. All the light blue ones are all the ones we have released to date.
See, that's what really throws me off. All the light blue ones are the ones they've released to date. So, but the dark blue also says new in 2023. That's confusing.
The ones are the ones that we have not done yet.
I guess we could do the math. You guys feel like doing the math? We're supposed to be doing this panel on another day. We're getting distracted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 2, 4, 6. Oh, okay, I'm going to count by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not the full ones. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10. So 1010's 110. 110 ships here. Anybody want to do the math and see if that counts up to all 10? Because I don't feel like it. Or all 110, including the Fury and stuff. Because, yeah, now I really want to know, does this include the Fury and the Hull C and the Vulture and stuff? Or does it not? I was trying to count just the light blue squares, not the... Oh, 160 light blue? Did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, duh. 10 times 15, 150, yeah. I'm sorry. Man. I need to stop doing math on stream. Think it doesn't include previously released ships in 23, and that the 12 are the unreleased committed ships for the rest of the year. It's a ton of ships then. That'd be 5 more that we don't really know about. So I don't know. I do not know. Funny how they never mention how many ships need gold passes. All of them. I mean, that just comes with the territory, right? Literally every single ship in this entire game is going to have to get to a rework of some extent. Which is sucky. Even the Gladius will need one. That ship's not done. No way that many new ships are coming before end of year. It's either that, I mean, the way I counted, it's either that there are this many new ships coming by end of year, or there are no new ships coming by end of the year. Because we've already seen 12 ships. Or I'm sorry, no new unannounced ships. We already know about 12 ships this year in total. So it's one or the other, I guess. How many unannounced ships are in the tracker? I don't know if those are still on there. Yeah, they don't even show up on here. You can just go to the ship team, probably. Vehicle concept art. There's a few, but it looks like they finished up work a little while ago. That's just concept art. 12 ships in the next 2 months is a lot, yeah. You think we've seen everything coming by the end of the year? No straight to flyyables at the end of the year? No X1? You don't think they're going to release the X1 this year? That'd be a bit sad. That thing... What was the last update we got on that? That it was in white box with the lighting details? Maybe it's not ready. They have the work on it ending in November. Oh, I guess that's already on the list. We already know about that, never mind. He said, will be in your hands, not already in your hands. Cutter and Vulture already in our hands. Yeah. Unannounced doesn't bring up anything in deliverables. Doesn't. Think we'll get the C1, yeah. Yeah, no. That's right. I'm wrong. I'm confusing myself. We counted 12 ships, including all of the things that are on here. But the X1 isn't on here. It's just these 4. So yeah, if we're assuming that we've already seen everything we're going to get, that means 322 they want to get in December with no new ships in it, including the X1. So that must mean these got to be new ships. Either way, I don't even know how we got onto that topic. Feel like they answered it in Twitch chat. Cool. A military variant for the 600i. I know people who bounty hunted in that ship. It was pretty useful. What's up, Artemis? What I think of the large Mirai-looking ship from the concept silhouettes. You know, I need to watch that again. I kind of forgot. Is that right here? I'm dipping into another day's content, so I don't want to dwell on this too much. Oh, that's a new hovercraft. I don't think I saw this. This looks like a Tumbril hovercraft. Or a hoverquad variant, it could be, yeah. It looks, this part at the back here looks kind of like the padding on the side panel on the Storm. But yeah, it could be a hoverquad variant, maybe. I think the shape is a bit off. If this is coming this year, it would be 2 squares, but they said this would all be in the next 12 months. So this isn't necessarily confirmed. There's the X1, so we know that's definitely coming. We just don't know if it's this year. Another Ursa, an Ursa variant, maybe a scanning version or some. Argo Cargo, Perseus? Is this the Mirai ship you were talking about? Does have that general shape. If it's the Ranger they gave up on the wheels, that would be pretty sad. Another hover quad of some kind. When you see... When you was at CitizenCon, did they touch on spaceship sounds and effects landing and taking off? No, didn't really hear much about that. I was pretty disappointed we didn't hear more about that during the flight panel, to be honest. It is a pretty big ship. That was not Perseus, way too small. Oh, wow, yeah. No, that's... I didn't even notice the person there. Huh. It does look like an RSI shape, though. A spirit? I don't know about that. Oh, could be the Zeus. Okay. Well, why would they give us the Zeus concept and then block it like this? Just for the fun of it? Zeus is a different slide? Hold on, what's the Crusader Spirit look like? Can't just go off the wingtips. We gotta look at the front of the ship. Front of the ship from the same angle. It's not exactly the same angle. Yeah, we need to see it from the side, actually. It's possible. Is it too small? Why is there no, like, shot from the left of this ship? No, not that one. 100% the Spirit? But why would they put the Spirit on there? That would be like putting the Santok Yai or the Tumbril Storm on there, you know? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's literally already on the roadmap. Confirmed for the next patch. That doesn't... I don't know. They didn't put the SRV on there. I don't think this is Spirit. This looks more like an RSI design. Yeah, the Zeus maybe. Don't assume you're looking at the nose of the ship. Aren't they all facing the same direction? I think they're all facing that way. All of them are to the left. Pretty sure that's the nose. Yeah, I'm surprised at this one. I'm surprised that they want to get the Legionnaire in within a year. As basically confirming hacking, which, you know, I guess needs to be in for Squadron. Look at the pic where they showed the Zeus. There is a secret racing looking variant on the left side, and it has a spoiler. Right here. Zeus is later because you can see the ladder and underside turret. Zeus is later. Oh, Retaliator. Polaris. Retaliator. This is the Zeus. Okay. Cool. Is this the Zeus? This looks too big. Zeus is 42 meters long, right? It's smaller than the MSR. Or shorter. I'm pretty sure I just looked this up. 45 meters long. Yeah, this thing is shorter than the MSR. Is this bigger? Is this MSR size compared to that person? "46 meters in length." How long is the MSR? Or let's just say the Apollo. How long is the Apollo? 43 meters. So this thing is the same size as the Apollo, guys. It's smaller than the MSR. It's 3 meters longer than the Apollo. It's not gigantic. Would you say this is 43 meters? 46 meters? Let me give you a better look. This, I don't know. This looks big to be the Zeus. You'd say that's about 46 meters? How many pixel talls is the person? We could do the true math. 100% the Zeus, look at the wings. Oh, I guess we could look at the, hold on. This will be an easy tell. Just pulled up a bunch of pictures of Zeus. Ah, that's funny. Landed Zeus. Yeah. Yeah, that's the landing gear. And the ladder. And the wings. You guys are right. It looks so big here. I can't believe that's 46 meters. Alright, so Zeus is here. Then that means this is something different. And much smaller. Let's just do a quick check real quick. Let's dot our I's and cross our L's. And look up the Crusader C1. And let's see how... Oh, okay. Really? Couldn't you just... Didn't have to make this so difficult. Crusader cares? And you just give me the ship? How about Spirit? Let's search for Spirit. Huh? There it is. Okay. So the Spirit is 46 meters. So that if this were the Spirit, it would look the exact same as this in scale. So then that's definitely not the Spirit. It's smaller. And I still think it looks kind of like an RSI design, but I could also maybe see... Man, I don't know. The front of the ship just looks quite RSI. Panera cares. An Eclipse variant? Yeah, it looks too long. What variant do you think that Argo is? Repair a flying tractor beam? Oh, I think this is meant to carry our large boxes. 32 SCU, 16 SCU kind of stuff. This is basically the Argo cargo without the central part, right? Mining ship from RSI. You know, I feel like if RSI made a large mining ship, it would probably be reminiscent of the Orion, at least. But maybe not. Tractor beam variant. Could be Consolidated Outlands. They also could be working on this. I think this is either Tumbrel or CNOU. The only reason I think it could be Tumbrel is because of this little back section. It looks a lot like the Tumbrel Storms. Hold on, let me pull it up. If you look at the armored panels on the Storm, they kind of look the same as that. This bit right here. I feel like that looks a lot like that back section. Sort of similar shape too. So maybe if they just shrunk this down and put it on a hovercraft, they could make a, you know, a hovercraft from Tumbrel, because I don't think we have one yet. You want the Spirit C1 and you'd be happy? I can't wait for the Spirit C1. Tumbrel Snowmobile. Let me screenshot this and ask the good folks on the interwebs what they think. What do you think? New Tumbrel hovercraft? Question mark? See what people think. Tumbrel Firestorm. Hey, they released the Tumbrel tank and then they released the Tumbrel Storm and now they've got like a Tumbrel Quick Strike Scout. That'd be cool. Why no hover tank? Yeah, we're trying to make 2142 here, aren't we? Or 2042. Where's the hover tank? Or no, it was 2142. Yeah. The STV was Grey Cat? Yeah. No, STV is Argo. Right? Am I wrong about that? Grey Cat. No, it's Grey Cat. You're right. I'm sorry. Grey Cat Steve. Yeah. You think you know what the Mirai ship is? You heard of the Zeus ST? It's confirmed to be a cross-system racer. Mirai have a cross-system racer, just like the ST. Be interesting. It's not gigantic. It's big, but it's not huge. Right? Like a two-person ship, maybe? This would be a very cool Deep Space Explorer. You'd be so beyond stoked for endurance races. Ah, God, how would they make that fun? I feel like it would have to be a quantum boost race. Endurance races would have to be like quantum boosting around a planet or something, you know, different like clusters around the planet. Maybe the more you stray to the outside, the slower your quantum boost is. So that's the racing aspect. And yeah, engineering would be a big part of it too. It's a giant Fury. It's just like a really, really oversized Fury. That's super unfun to fly. Multi-system races. Going through jump points and stuff. Suilin? Forgot about... you think this has the same as the Raylin? Either way, the fact that we have... I like how they put the Retaliator here as sort of to be like, we're going to get modularity done. That's kind of a sleeper announcement, right? Something that you may not know unless you know the history of the Retaliator. In fact, why don't we talk about that? So we could go all the way back to back in the day. I'm gonna cheat and use Starchives here. Appreciate that. And you know what? Instead of that, Retaliator. I do have footage for this downloaded, but I figure it might be easier to just find this on their own show. We have an Inside Star Citizen where we've talked about this before. Let's see if we can... No, not this one. Modularity is like a really big deal in Star Citizen. It's something that we have been waiting for about as long as the game has existed. This is something that they've talked about many times, and they've used it kind of as a sales tactic at times, so it rubs people the wrong way. You saw that with the Galaxy. The Galaxy was a really interesting ship. A lot of people wanted it for the modularity, despite modularity still not coming out with the ships they've talked about. And if I can find it here, we can see the last time they sort of mentioned it with the Retaliator. but I might not be able to. Retaliator module. I don't think I'm going to be able to find something on that. Oh! Still nothing. Okay, here we go. This is at least where they mention it. Let's listen to this.
But that's the people would.
Oh, are you going to fix that?
Want fixed. We could have them fixing issues like people falling out of ships, things like that. And I think I know which one most people would.
Oh, are you going to fix that?
Want fixed. Sorry?
I said, oh, are you going to fix that?
Yeah.
All right, and then I'm going to assume it's the same answer for like the underside pods.
Yeah, still planned. They are, those ones are actually technically blocked, but that's the same tech blocker as we have with the retaliator modules. So when we have that, retaliator modules will probably be the first thing that come online using it, and then we can go back through the catalog of ships that have that same sort of modular room functionality and implement that.
Okay, right. So that's kind of one of the, they do this a lot where they talk about problems they have with one thing and how that can be affecting something else, or once they figure one thing out, it can help them get another thing done. If we go to, dude, what the heck? Sometimes this search system just really doesn't get it done. Like I know the Hull C was mentioned in the sprint report with the Santaki Eye, or with the in the video with the Santaki Eye. Let me see if I can find that video. No. Here we are. So in this one, let's see if he talks about those problems again here.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Development for a while. What's been going on, man?
Well, how long have you got?
Try to keep it under 2 minutes.
Okay. Hull C, for those that don't know, is like the big 18-wheeler of the Star Citizen universe, designed for transporting bulk cargo around the stations and between solar systems. We started it, I want to say 5+ years ago. We got so far on the art and design side, probably early grey box. And then the sheer amount of technical challenges with this ship became apparent. We put a pause to it. We thought, we'll come back. The teams that need to help us have more important things to do at that point in time. There was object container streaming going on. So we're like, that's more important. We'll sort that out. We'll come back to it. And the last year or so, we've come back to it and had to deal with all those big technical challenges for the ship.
And how's it doing today? What can folks expect?
You can expect the ship working as we intended it to be when it was concepted. So it's quite a unique ship in the game. There's a lot of moving parts literally on it and some tech in there that you've never seen before in any ships. So primarily the hurdles revolved around that central spindle section that you can walk through whilst it's doing those animated states. We've essentially got 2 parts of the ship that move independent, or they're animated together, but they're independent parts of the ship, and a new way of loading cargo onto the ship.
I want to talk to you about that. So one of the big questions since this thing was first.
So that didn't really get too much to talk about modularity, but one of the things they mentioned with the Hull C and all those problems that he's mentioning, I think they said it on Spectrum maybe, is that the Hull C work they did helped a ton with figuring out modularity. So what I'm kind of trying to get at is that there are several things that they clearly stated throughout the years were problems that they were having with modularity. And there was a point, unfortunately I can't find this ISC. I don't know. Ah, man, let me see if I can do one more search. I have the footage, but I want you guys to be able to hear what they actually are saying. This would be 2021. Oh, this might be it. Yeah, okay. So here's another part where they were kind of talking about this. This is 2020, remember. So they've been kind of working towards this for a little while and just trying to figure out how to make it all happen. This is also the last time we got a full update on the Retaliator.
Than the Gladiator Saber has all the same criteria of work, so looking at the cockpit, looking at the components, adding all the things, checking everything's symmetric. But because it's got an interior, then there's additional tasks added. So the same work we do for the cockpit of the pilot has to be done for the turrets. The components that you can physically take out of the ship, can you physically take them out of the ship? Do the doors need to be wider, etc.? Now you've made the doors wider, do they still fit in the ship when they open? And we also took the time to look at the central room and thought, can we improve on this? We decided to remove the top and bottom docking collars and go for a side.
Now, we don't have this Retaliator in game, right? Like, they've shown us this rework, but I don't think it's in game yet. Somebody confirm.
Airlock, which also helps for docking because that's just a natural walking on transition. And then because we'd lost a lift on that side, we then realized we had to make the lift on the other side slightly larger to accommodate essentially 2 lifts worth of people. So then you've now just got 1 lift on that side of the ship to get in and a docking collar on the other side to get in. The thing that the Retaliator has is the customizable room modules, and there's a cargo module front and back, a dropship module at the front.
See, so art-wise, these modules are, at least were, pretty close to complete 2 years ago. Functionality-wise, they've got a cargo compartment. They've got a compartment for a bomb, a compartment to sit in, and compartments for cargo. None of these are new gameplay features, so they don't need to develop new technology for them. Really, it seems like the only thing these are dependent on are actual modularity functionality working. Let's continue. It sounds like I was on the video where they talked about the Hull C. Let me, I'll go back to that.
To current standards. So when modularity comes on as a swappable item, they are good to go.
Yeah. So like you just said, when modularity comes online, there will be a swappable item. So they are ready. They're just waiting for that feature. So why wouldn't we get the Retaliator? Or why would they introduce the Retaliator now if modularity wasn't ready when they've been working on it for so long?
Where we're at with the first gold standard ships, obviously going to go through all the ships, but we are going to focus on the ones that feature heavily in Squadron 42 first. And then,
like, I could see them doing the gold standard of the Retaliator itself. It's just, it would be very, very strange to put the Retaliator on this ship with a bunch of concepts that are hyped, because you know this list, there's no way this list is all the ships we're getting next year. This is just the ships they want to hype us about. Why would they want to hype us about a Retaliator rework? We're also getting a Freelancer rework. We're also probably getting a couple other gold standard ships because Squadron 42 calls for them. So I just don't really see why we would have the Retaliator on here unless they were trying to hint at more. But at the same time, you know, I'm not going to, let's not run away with the idea that modularity is for sure coming. That's just a possibility, I think. And where was the Hull C? You said it was later, further in the video, they talk about the Hull C helping with modularity. Do you know where? Can I just look it up? Could be an entirely new variant. Oh, I'm sure that would make the module owners happy. Roundtable. Oh, it was during the IAE talk, huh? The Invictus talk. Need to take that down. And I don't need that. Ah, that's right, that's right. See if we can find that real quick. Because I'm going to make a video out of this, I think. Yeah, they usually answer some good stuff in Invictus talks.
The C1...
Let's see. Progress on modularity. Cool. Perfect.
Says, has there been any progress on modularity since it was last talked about?
Yes. Good news at last.
Good news.
Well, we'll be the
Good
judge of
news.
that. We'll be the judge of that.
So,
you ready, chat?
you ready,
Eyes on the
chat?
chat, guys. Come on.
Yep. So with the development of the whole C, we've pretty much figured out the last hurdle. And in fact, Chris is responsible for the test that I got him to do for it, where we can have object containers, which is the interior collection of assets, loaded as an item, loaded onto the ship, because that's how the rear of the whole C is attached to the ship and moves with it. What had stopped us technically going any further with this was items inside those object containers couldn't talk to the vehicle it was connected to.
Right.
So the example of the Retaliator, the torpedo droppy arms, they're actually part of the exterior of the ship currently, because that's the only way they can work. So if we allowed you to swap the modules, no matter what module you had, there'd be a pair of torpedo arms dangling through the middle of it. Chris did a test where he attached a load of missile racks and torpedoes to the inside of the back of the hull C, which is not going to ship with it.
Wait, you're saying we're not having a torpedo hull C?
Yeah.
There is a shelf that says "Do not submit" in very large letters.
And the pilot had full control of that, and they could fire them. So after the whole C ships and we found any more quirks with that setup, we're in a position where, to my knowledge, touch wood, technically there's nothing stopping us doing modularity now. That was the last big hurdle.
All right.
There's nothing technically stopping us from doing it, but there's also priorities and
might be
things,
logistics.
building a team.
Nothing technically stopping us.
So we literally have John Cruz saying, why would we get the Retaliator without modularity? Guys, I honestly, at this point, I think it would be very, very weird for them to come on camera and say, hey, all these problems I've been talking about for years for modularity, they don't exist anymore. We're good. There's nothing holding us back from modularity. And then they would come out 5 months later and tease the ship that they've always said is coming with modularity and not have it include modularity. Especially when, once again, all the other ships on this list don't exist yet. Right? None of these ships exist except for this one. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure we're getting other ships next year. So why didn't they put any other ships coming next year on this list? Somebody make it make sense. I'm not, I really wouldn't be pursuing this as just a hype thing. I would just like this to make sense to somebody play the devil's advocate so I don't run away with this idea. It really feels like they're pointing towards it being a thing really soon. They were talking about the Galaxy too. They talked about bringing that in game. They definitely need it working for the Galaxy as well, but that's coming after the Polaris, so probably not for a couple years. Think I already know? I just want somebody to prove this wrong so I can go to sleep happy, knowing that modularity might actually be coming soon. Or I guess, prove it wrong so that I don't get overexcited about it. Roadmap says Storm in 321. Yeah. Right here. Kryzen Caterpillar. You know, you got a good point. The Caterpillar would do wonderful with modularity, but the Caterpillar's got to get its elevators working first. That hurts. But yeah, I think, you know, if all of these other ships are hype ships and they've had the gold standard ready for this ship, and now they've had modularity ready for this ship, and now they're putting it on this list, I think that kind of points to it. It's not confirmed, but, you know, we can speculate. We'll add it to the video for next year and probably be wrong about it. Either way, modularity. If they've got that working, what about the Endeavor? The Endeavor is going to be a little harder, I think, to get working than the Retaliator. Galaxy after Perseus. Okay. It scares you? Hey, Shakatuna. How you doing? They said for base building you need either one of the two ground vehicles, the Galaxy or the Pioneer. So if they release base building, those ships need to come with it. Yeah, and I think base building is still a decent ways away. There's a lot on the Caterpillar. I briefly got a chance to talk to John Crew at CitizenCon, and I wish I had asked him. The one question I want to ask him when I see him is, how do you feel with the Caterpillar right now? It's like one of the worst. Remember that the Avenger and Vanguards are all supposed to be modular too? Really? Your friend said you need to purchase land with real-life money to be able to base build. Is that correct? Have you ever had to purchase anything in this game with real-life money to be able to get it? I mean, obviously the ships after a quarter, yeah. And the exclusive ships. But like in terms of a game system, that doesn't really follow, right? Doesn't really track. It'd be pretty freaking crazy, actually, if you had to spend money to build a base. That would be probably the worst decision they could ever make. We'll get an update when they add tractor beams. Yeah. They said at CitizenCon that land would be purchasable in-game. Yeah. They did sell land, but you don't need to buy it. They didn't actually sell land either. They sold land claims. So the people who bought those things didn't reserve any land. It's not theirs by right. They will have access to go claim land at the same time as everybody else. They just bought the claim early. It's like buying a ship early and then everybody gets to fly it when it gets in-game. They didn't get any advantage over the fact that they spent some money. You purchased a ticket to CitizenCon just to ask John about the Caterpillar. Avenger was the first ship they ever talked about being modular. I didn't know that. Huh. Cool. Low security systems won't even need land claims. Yep. But you're on your own then, right? Base building should not be in-game until we have multiple systems. Oh, I think that's inevitable. I don't think there's any way they could get it in-game before Pyro. All variants should be modular. I think unless they change the exterior of the ship, yeah, that makes sense. Somebody did say that's how it was going to be too. I don't know, but there's a lot of conversation around that. All right, let me see something here, guys. I'm going to try something new. Okay, it's not really something new. It's actually something I've done previously. I've got a new video for y'all. Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick. How about we schedule this? What time is it? 12:24. Let's schedule this one for 12:30. So in 6 minutes, this video is going to come out. And I'm actually going to rate it from our YouTube stream here. So you guys can relax. On Twitch, I'll find somewhere for you guys. But I figured I'd give you a little sneak peek of the video. If you're not getting rated into it, maybe you want to check it out later. Either way. Isn't it great that YouTube gives you ads on your own videos?
Meets absolute efficiency.
So this is something I was really wanting to do when I was watching CitizenCon. There are a lot of big changes with Squadron 42, yeah? So, surprise, I put together a 13.5-minute video putting side by side mostly every change that I could find between mainly our 2017 vertical slice and what we saw in 2023, but also some clips from 2015, 2018, 2019. Generally just old Squadron 42 compared to what we've now seen as new Squadron 42, because one of the things I wanted most was just a redone vertical slice to show us how the game systems, how the graphics, how the characters, how all that changed. And I feel like they did a good job with that. So I'll give you guys a little preview of this. Why is it only uploaded at 720p? Oh no, that's okay. Well, might re-upload this, guys. Why is it at 720p? Ah, man. I'll give you a sneak peek anyways, and I'll release it in a couple hours, I guess. Man, I hate uploading to YouTube sometimes. Here it is.
Archangel 6, come in.
Go for 6.
I'm getting a faint contact on bearing 287. You picking that up?
Yeah, got it. Scanning now. We're clear. Commercial vessel out of Vegas 3. Provided that civilian traffic is restricted under lockdown.
Copy that.
Archangel. Archangel. This is Krugeri.
Come back, Krugeri.
Redirect to sector 7 Bravo Echo for immediate tasking.
Copy that. On our way.
Man, this just does not look as good in standard definition. Much sad.
This is the final phase of gameplay iteration before we fully transition into optimization and stability on the road to release.
Need your trail? This is Colton. Come back. Always trips me out to see terraforming setups like this. Web tried explaining how atmosphere processors work. Really shows how far we've come. Hell is she?
We've worked closely with our social teams in delivering a cohesive social experience when you're taking some downtime from our refined flight and FPS missions.
Sure. The Gemini LH-86. Solid balance, a good choice for close quarters, but it does have a bit more kick than you'd expect. I would have never thought a shotgun could be so pretty. Damn, this R97 is sleek as hell. Like a lot of other weapons in Gemini's arsenal, it has a higher rate of fire than most guns of its type.
Okay. All right.
For example, we're launching off a space carrier, but we still ground the feel in real-world actions, refueling, repairing, and inspecting, and making sure that your next flight mission is a success.
The big one's coming out.
No sudden moves. Relax, son. I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what this guy looks like with the new graphics. I have always liked his character. He's great voice actor.
It's very simple. We're OMC. And OMC belongs to CitizenCon. And CitizenCon doesn't like people messing with his things, you got me?
Well, this is ridiculous.
How so?
Be nice to know how much of a shitstorm we're flying into.
More like a hellstorm, Blue. One you ain't gonna fly out of.
Shut up.
Now, I hadn't seen.
All right, y'all. So that's kind of a sneak peek. That's like, what, a third of the way through the video. I got a bunch of these. Clearly, I'm going to have to update it because it uploaded in 720p. Amateur YouTube moves. You know how it is. But that's about it for my stream, guys. Just want to give you a little teaser. And I'll be releasing this as soon as I can, probably in the next couple of hours. But I hope it gives some good insight into how they've changed the game, because they updated it quite a bit over these years. Now, without further ado, I'm going to send y'all on. I'm going to send you all on over to my man... Send you over to DJ Knight. Looks like he's doing some look-throughs of the later gameplay panel. Stuff we'll go over in a little bit. Go say hi. Have a good one, folks. Appreciate you all. Cheers, guys. You've all been great today. It's always a good time, especially with CitizenCon hype going on. Prepare for more tomorrow. We'll have another panel for you. More conversation. And what is it, Thursday? Maybe a podcast. Catch y'all later. Have a good day.